We'd love to build your perfect space and fill it all with love. We'll trim your trees, pay your city fees. We fit just like a glove. We'd love to teach the world to build perfect harmony, perfect harmony. We'd love to give the world a coat and win their company, 'cause we're the real thing. Thank you.
I love it. I love it that you took some time and effort there. I guess well, you know about the show, right? That's why. So I get a lot of people that get on the show and they're like, "What's with all the singing at the beginning of the show?" But you embrace it. Thank you so much, Mustafa. I really appreciate it.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I love that part about the show. Honestly, it adds a bit of creativity. So I've been really working on this. So I appreciate you saying that.
99.9% of the time, people, they don't mind it. Some love it, but then there's that small percentage that's like, I can't do this. I can't do it. We're regular people. We love I look at it like it wasn't my idea at first, but I look at it like everybody on job sites sings.
Yes.
Everybody's always shooting up, a tune or something like that, and they're talking or whatever, making up their own lyrics, which is great.
Yes.
So it's like it's in you. It's in tradespeople.
100%.
People do it all the time, right?
100%. It keeps your spitter up too as you're going. Like anyone who's going to be working like on it, I kind of think of the guys on the railways from like the movies when you see it's just a song to keep a rhythm and it keeps it with the flow. So it's a good positive vibe for sure.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for reaching out. And then you asked me to come on the show, and I said, for sure, let's do this, right? We'll have a conversation. I love the name, Reno Rabbit.
Thank you.
And then how long you guys been in business now?
No, we're coming up on our 4th year of business right now.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
Well, let me share. So it's Reno Rabbit. Mustafa, what's your last name?
Memon.
Memon.
Yes.
And then you can find them on IG under Reno Rabbit Inc. and also on TikTok the same way. Their email is info@renorabbit.com or .ca?
.ca.
.ca.
Yes.
And then the website is www.renorabbit.ca.
Yes.
I'm wearing Charlie's hoodie there. It's the season. VIL Landscaping. He's doing really well. Guy's like in 21, 22 years old.
Good
running
for
a
him,
landscape
man.
company.
Nice.
No, actually, he's younger than that because he was on the show last year. He was 18. And then he started a landscaping business, and he's got a lot of employees, and he's doing really well. And it all started from finding a broken down bicycle on the side of the road.
Oh, wow.
He had attached a trailer to it, and he started boring his dad's lawnmower, and then he started cutting lawns.
Good.
Now VIL is a big company and doing really well, so I have a lot of respect for him, man.
Oh, no, right.
Guy.
Honestly, it sounds like a great story too, man. Love to meet the guy.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Right? So, Safety Corner, your weekly guide to safer construction. Introducing Safety Corner, the latest must-watch show from the creators of the construction life. Co-hosted by safety expert Phillip Ferreira and powered by his S1 Safety Division, this 30-minute weekly series cuts through the noise to bring you real footage and raw insights from actual job sites. No fluff, just hard-hitting analysis, and Phillip and myself break down what went right, what went wrong, and what could have gone catastrophically wrong. Each week, we tackle the biggest safety issues facing the industry today, sharing the knowledge every tradesperson needs to make it home safe. Whether you're on the job or managing the site, Safety Corner is here to help you build smarter, safer, and better. Tune in to revolutionize the way you approach safety on the job. Catch Safety Corner weekly because safety isn't just important, it's essential. Where do you want to start?
Honestly, the floor is yours.
The wife is working with you?
Yes.
What's her duties?
So basically, the way that it kind of worked out is that my wife, because she's the president of Reno Rabbit, her education is geared towards construction, I would say. She started off with a little less conventional start because it was a George Brown, so it was business administration. But then when we started thinking about getting into the construction space, she went to Ryerson University and studied business management.
Makes sense. I've always told people in construction they need that.
100%, just to understand at the very least how to manage that aspect of it. And then she also went, and a part of her curriculum was also to take property management and real estate management. Now, the advantage of doing that...
So my question to you is, what do you do?
Oh, God, yes.
If she's doing so much, what do you do?
100%. Thank you.
I'm just joking, yeah.
No. I appreciate you asking that. So you see, the thing is that my background, like when people ask me, how did you get into construction? I tell them I didn't really get into it. I feel like I was really born for this. And I can explain why. It's because I've always been around construction sites. My dad is a dental surgeon. My dad is a...
You can bring the mic to you. Just bring the mic to you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So my dad is a dental surgeon and my mom is a teacher, but my father is also a humanitarian. So in Pakistan, he actually built a hospital, which is called OCAF, Oral Care Aid Foundation. Okay. And it's to help people who have terminal cancer and the government can't afford to help them. These guys don't have any money. So it's just palliative care, which basically lets them die with a little bit of dignity. They give them the medication and food.
And he started that?
Yes, 100%. He built it from the ground up. He used to be the head of WHO for oral care in Asia. And I think he just saw a lot of things when he was trying to raise awareness for that. And when he came back to Karachi, like he moved all of us here. I've been in Canada since I was 11 years old. And my father, majority of the time, has been back there living alone by himself, away from his wife and kids, just because he's trying to make a difference in the country where not a lot of people are willing to help the poor. But to go back to the construction side, is that since I was very young, because that hospital took quite some time to get built, I got to see the construction from his perspective. So in Pakistan, aside from over here, we have to deal with a lot of city bureaucracy and stuff. Over there, it's a little bit different in terms of briberies. Like you have to know the right people to bribe. Otherwise, they put a lot of gates in front of you and stuff. So you kind of need to know how to loosen some hands and, so it's a bit strange, and it was frustrating to see, like from my dad's perspective, to see him go through that. But it did open my eyes as to take construction not lightly. Like it's not something, because I hear a lot of people talk about it like it's just a business they want to start tomorrow morning. And I tell them that you might really want to tread lightly on this. I, myself and my wife were both very fortunate that when we entered the construction field, we partnered with these two brothers, Demar and Kimar Jennings. Shout out to you guys. Yeah. But very, very fortunate to have these two with us because they were extremely patient and they were extremely good at kind of showing us the ropes and all the ins and outs, do's and don'ts. My background, though, primarily came from sales. So I used to be a sales director and a national program manager. So we used to work for multiple sales companies, and we worked in big retail outlets like Costco or Canadian Tire or Walmart. Yeah. So different vendors used to approach us and ask us, help us sell our product. So it was my job to come up with a sales pitch and then train, whether on a local scale or a national scale, all the locations to help push this product as fast as we can. We entered into Costco's custom installation services. When you're leaving Costco, there's the Hunter Douglas blinds, water systems. It's basically all their home services. So when I entered into that sector of sales, I would say, it really opened my eyes to the home improvement industry. Because the thing is that when you're selling a water system, you get to the house and you realize you're like the smallest tag item in the whole project that's happening. Because these are a lot of construction custom homes that we were going to, mega mansions that I had never seen in Canada before, even though I grew up over here. So it really opened my eyes to a whole different world, I would say. And this is a long, long time ago. So it was since then that this thought had always been in my head. And I was very fortunate that my wife's thought process was also in the same direction. So us coming together, meeting the right people at the right time was the perfect formula for Reno Rabbit.
And how did you meet them, the other partners there? They were just in the space?
Oh, yes. So it's my social circle, I would say, is rather large because I try to have, I try to be a friendly person. So I try to keep connections, build relationships. But I think that's very important. Yeah. Not only in business, just in life. So Demar and Kimar, I'd known them through, they did a renovation once at my sister's friend's house. So I once spoke to them through that. I thought he was a great guy. We kept in touch. And then there was a few projects that my friends were kind of asking about. So I kind of connected Demar and these guys. This is once again a long time ago, but that's when I started to see the possibilities that exist in the renovation industry. But the one good thing about having Yekaterina being the president of Reno Rabbit is she is a very cautious individual. So we do not take things lightly. You don't look at commercial like it's some kind of joke and, I love commercial because there's a lot of money in it. It is extremely scary when you start looking at all the ins and outs and the risks that you're taking.
The agreements that are drawn up.
100%.
To benefit them more than the contractor.
Exactly. It feels very one-sided. And but you, at the same time, there's a reason people do it. Like there would be a reason that people would take on that kind of risk, sign a contract that is so one-sided. However, until you can get to that point, you need to know what you're doing. So that's why when I keep repeating that we make sure that we approach things and give them the respect that they deserve. Do not bite off more than you can chew. Do not overbook. You're not going to be able to give the client the service that you're hoping to give them. And that is the most important thing at Reno Rabbit. That's the thing that I personally care about, Yekaterina cares about, everyone. We just want our clients to be happy. Honestly, whatever it takes sometimes.
But then that's just a company culture. So it's like that's brought right down through all the sub-trades, the employees. Everybody understands this. They get this visualization right from the get-go. This is how we're going to move forward because you guys are looking at the industry that, and we all know this, like even the construction industry, even when you do improve it, it can still get improved again.
Yes.
Like there's still opportunities in any level of construction. So you guys are looking at that, and now you're educating the younger trades going, here's an opportunity we're going to do. This is how we want to do it. Do you have any suggestions on how we should do this? But we've already got a plan in play.
Yes.
And it works. And now you guys have a success at that point, and it goes from there, and then you go to the next one.
100%.
But right now, when you guys are looking for work, is it still word of mouth, or are you still just door knocking and talking sales and calls, and you're still doing all that because you have to do that, right?
100%. But one advantage that I was able to contribute to answer, even to go back to your earlier question, one major contribution I'm also able to make to Reno Rabbit is when I work with so many different clients, whether it was Cutco Cutlery, Connecticut Water Systems, Bell Media, Rogers. We even did credit cards, pressure cookers, slow cookers, steamers, rice makers, boilers. Like we sold so many things, and you get to see all the approaches that these guys are using in their marketing. The kind of tactics that they use, the strategies that they use. And then you also see a lot of statistics, and it motivates you to do things that I would say maybe someone who's starting off in Google ad spends would not be as motivated to do because you don't see results right away, right? Like when you're giving, Google even tells you adjust your Google budget by $5. It takes 2 weeks for the algorithm to pick up on it. So during that 2 weeks, your whole thing is like up in the air and you're like, I was just trying to increase the budget. So if someone has not seen that successfully play out in the long run, and the fortunate situation for me, it was someone else's budget that we were using because they were a client, big clients like Bell and all this stuff. And you see it works, and you see that this is why these companies do this. So yes, we are always for conventional marketing. We will always, every time I go to a house, I'll always go to the houses next door, very politely knock on the door, give them my business card, introduce myself, tell them, hey guys, we're just going to be doing some work over here. Might be a little bit noisy. If there's any problems, please call me directly.
Yep.
And if there's anything you guys ever need, please let me know. That I feel is extremely powerful because you know they're going to go and ask the neighbor about it. They're going to get to see your work. So
I've always done that. It just makes sense. But the problem is that there's still going to be friction.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation, depending on the scope of the work, depending on what happens. We know what the bylaws are. We know what we're allowed to do regarding noise and congestion. We understand that there's lots of vehicles that are going to be coming to this one address, which means that they have to park in front of your address or several other addresses. We're going to have big machinery. We all know that, and it kind of tests the neighbors at that point.
Yes.
Right? And then their true colors will come out, but at least the least that you can do as a contractor is just introduce yourself, be polite about it, and then leave it at that. If
100%.
they want to go down the path of being more resistant to it, that's a different story, and you handle it at that point.
100%.
In a different way, right? So
yes, and I completely agree with you on that because I really would prefer if they just called me directly, the neighbors, if there was a concern that they were having. But sometimes it's out of your control. Like they might just march over in a bad mood and tell the client
do that. That's
something.
just neighbors, right?
Exactly. But we do try to go above and beyond. I remember this one time. I even told them, but it's once again not trying to push blame, but we were basically doing some excavation, and there was a lot of mud flying all around the place, and some of it had gotten onto their car. So we went and we got them a luxury car wash, and I went and I left it at an envelope from Reno Rabbit, an apology with like a smiley face, just to do right by them, to say, guys, look, we were not doing it intentionally, but we will make sure that if anything is our fault, we will not deny it, we will not push blame away or get into an argument. Let's just fix the problem and move forward. Try to resist the friction, like the path of least resistance.
They were well receptive with it, or?
Yeah, they weren't home at the time when I dropped it off, but then the homeowner had told me that they really appreciated it.
Good.
So, and that was good enough for me. I said, look, if they told you that and you're telling this with a smile on your face, then project complete.
So being in the business, Mustafa, is like, I'm sure that you've seen recently competitiveness and numbers are dropping just because clients are being a lot more conscious and a lot more savvy with their dollars.
Yes.
Because we're in Canada now, and our 100% portion of our dollar is not going as far as it used to go.
Yes.
And so when they still understand that they have to renovate and they have to get, it's always about the budget. It starts off with the budget, but you're obviously seeing that you're having the same battle that everybody else is having.
Yes.
Which is you're trying to justify the cost of your service that you're providing, and you're hoping in the back of your head that they're not comparing you to fly-by-nights. They're not comparing you to people who just want to get into the game to make a little bit of money and take off.
Yes.
And then if there's ever an issue, they won't be heard of from again. You, on the other hand, you have a business and you have a reputation, you have a brand. Everybody's doing that. They're all standing.
Yes.
But now you're having to fight the budget all the time? How are you handling that?
So and I appreciate the question. This past couple of months, I thought it was only me, but at the home show, I heard it from a lot of my colleagues and people within the industry.
How was the home show? Was it good?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was, honestly speaking, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. We had another one in March that was 10 days. The fall home show is 3 days, but to give you some kind of perspective, in the last years following the COVID pandemic situation, obviously, the year after was brutal. The following year after that wasn't too great. So people were starting to lose faith. Like, you could see a lot of business owners imagine standing on the floor for 10 days and you could throw a bowling alley down the line and it wouldn't hit something. So you could see the spirit was kind of dying. But then this last home show that happened in March, people started coming back again, and everyone, like, it felt so great just to see people filling in droves coming into the home show, more on the weekend fare. And I personally think that the reason why, this is a hypothesis, but it's only, I think people are getting sick of these AI bots online, because a lot of the construction companies, even if I'm trying to look into something myself, instant reply, super long message. And it's becoming easier for people to detect when it's a person, I believe, whether when it's AI. And it's going back to the whole pressing 0 because I just want to talk to a person. What's it called? So that's why a lot of people were coming, and it felt more like education again. Like, I felt like I was educating the customers, talking to them about how we do our processes, giving out some free advice, which I enjoy doing. But to answer your question, how are we competing with other people within the market, is coming up with innovative ways to approach to lower labor costs. That's the only way that I can think of.
How are you lowering labor costs?
So I'm looking into this. I haven't done this on my end yet, implemented it. I'm still kind of looking at certifications, but I keep seeing ads on Instagram. We'll redo your bathroom, 3-piece bathroom for $9,000. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, materials alone.
1978.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And I'm like, if someone said that to me in my house, not because I want to spend more money, I'd be like, I would not accept that, because I wouldn't even understand how they would definitely be cheaping out on certain materials. But I don't mean to speak ill of anyone doing this. It's just, I was trying to figure out, where are they cutting that much of the cost
I think
from?
in all fairness, Mustafa, the idea is that when you see something like that, it perks the interest of a client. Mm-hmm. But what they don't realize is that particular contractor or business is going to come into your house, and that's the starting point for them. Mm-hmm. And by the time they actually look at the project that they're offering,
yes,
it's not going to be $9,000. It's going to be like $15,000. It's going to get to the number that it's supposed to get to.
Yes.
But it gets them into the door.
Yes.
The unfortunate thing is the client is solely deciding on speaking to somebody off of that first number.
Yep.
Which is not a fair representation of the construction industry, right?
Yes,
that's the problem. So I blame a little bit to the clients on that fact, because you can't always purchase on price.
100%.
When it comes to custom renovations, and every renovation is a custom renovation, there's no such thing as a pre-mold modular fitted bathroom that just drops right in place into that space that you have in your house.
Yes.
Because every space and every project, every room is all custom. So you can't give a custom price to suit everybody's issues. When it comes to spray foam and blown-in insulation for your next project, there's no better team than Mohammed and his crew at Foamit. With well-educated, skilled installers, Foamit doesn't just get the job done, they do it right. They take the time to properly estimate and educate you on every aspect of your project, ensuring your building envelope is airtight and energy efficient. As leaders in the industry, they bring a deep understanding of building science to every job, making sure your project stands the test of time. But don't just take their word for it. Past clients constantly praise the quality of work and professionalism of the Foamit team. From homeowners to large-scale contractors, feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, with clients appreciating their attention to detail, the thoroughness of their crew, and the results that speak for themselves. At Foamit, they pride themselves on building lasting relationships through exceptional service, reliability, and the commitment to exceeding expectations on every single project. Whether you're insulating a new build, upgrading an older property, or tackling a commercial project, Foamit is your trusted partner in achieving energy efficiency and comfort. They understand the importance of getting it right the first time, and that's why so many clients return to them for future projects. Connect with Foamit today. Reach them at 416-893-8712 or 647-961-9777. Email them at mohammed@foamit.ca or visit them at www.foamit.ca. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn to see their latest projects and innovations. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
Yes. And I completely agree with you. And see, this is I don't. This is what I meant by I don't like talking ill about other companies. But I've heard this about larger brands who I won't mention. But clients have told me that they gave me a quote, signed the contract, and the second it started, the guy came and did a walkthrough. This wasn't included. This wasn't included.
Yeah.
These are on the bigger side, so it does make sense. I've been noticing, have you heard about these MGO sheets or these PVC sheets that people are using? So they're basically 4 feet wide, 8 feet tall. I would personally never use this in the bathroom. I want to say that live. But a lot of people have been showing me videos of them building a corner shower using 2 of these PVC sheets, which are, and they say it's MGO. They'll show me it's fire rated, it's waterproof, and they'll use an H-bar with silicone as the connector. And they're like, this will work. And I'm like, no, that won't. They're like, no, but it's great. There'll be no grout lines, and you can put the shower glass. They even had demonstrations of this at the show.
It's a PVC, what, half-inch sheet?
It's about literally, like I'd say, about less than half an inch in terms of the thickness. And then the sheet itself, the one that they're using inside bathrooms, they call it MGO, magnesium oxide.
And they're fixing it right to the studs?
No. You put on a layer of drywall, and then this goes on top. It acts as the tile.
You're gluing it on top of it?
Yes. And you don't use PL though. You use a special, that's their pitch, that you use a special kind of glue that only they have that works, and it's, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Okay, so my first question with that product is the connection point at the bottom in the shower.
Yes.
What's the tray?
That's exactly what I was asking him about. And he was the sales pitch that I heard, which I'm not convinced about, by the way, so I'm not trying to promote this product, is that he said that there's a special kind of trim that they have that fits the bottom part, and then you're supposed to put silicone over. He sent me an instructional video, but once again, it just made my mind.
Their tray?
Yeah, it's something that they make specifically, and it's supposed to fit with this product. And he sent me a bunch of certifications.
What's the cost of this product?
So if you're looking at just the sheets, they're charging on their website anywhere between $8 to $12 a square foot. Some are higher. Then there's installation. Then you have to buy the glue. Then you need to buy the tracks. So
they're $300 plus each sheet.
Easily.
So you're $600 and change for 2 sheets. If you're doing an alcove, then it's 4 sheets, because you can't, if it's only 4x8. So it's 4. So you're at a $1,500 price point. Mm-hmm. I don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense.
It's the way that they're presenting it is that this will take off the labor charge of actually having to install the tiles onto the walls. Because I know that tiling is not super expensive, but if you had to get a slab, that's the trade-off. That if you had to get a slab,
you can't compare that to a slab.
I know, that's what I said.
I would not compare that to a slab.
Agreed.
I would compare that to like a bath fitter model, where it's just a unit that just gets right covered over. But all you're doing is you're hiding the old, and then you're getting rid of the extra cost of having to demo.
Thank you.
But then all of a sudden, you're stuck on where everything is. You can't add or change the shower valve. You can't add a niche or whatever. Like, you can't. It's limitations. So it's like a question of, what do you want to renovate then?
I completely agree with you.
So I would not be a fan of this product. By you describing it, I've never even seen it. By you describing it, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't mean to once again put the product on. Maybe I'm not giving it justice, but once again, myself, Demar, Yakatrina for sure, they're like, we're not doing it. Because when it comes to waterproofing, we're very particular. We use Schluter like all the time, and I'm a huge fan of doing that 24-hour video. I post it on my Instagram as much as I can. I know it takes sometimes a little bit more time, but it's good for the client to see. You can use that same 24 hours to register their warranty, show them that you care, and when they come back and they see the line after, that's just peace of mind that you're giving them. But if you just put the waterproofing membrane on top, you put your curdy boards, and you just cover it with tile immediately, it's like you've stolen that experience from the client. And why would you? Because Schluter has gone through this extra lengths. They've made these videos. They've written their, all the things about their comprehensive warranties, made in Germany. If the client's already paying for it, then just take the extra time. So
here's the thing, Mustafa, is that I've done my fair share of waterproofing, and specifically using Schluter products. Mm-hmm. I've never, ever once needed to have a conversation about warranty. Mm-hmm. So I've done the training. I've done actual installs. I was doing it with cement board with just curdy on top of it before the board came out. Mm-hmm. And then when I speak to other tile setters, it's the same thing. They're using all kinds, whether it's Laticrete, Hydro board, or whatever other boards that are out there, Weedy or whatever have you. It's, if you do it correctly, you install it correctly. I've never heard of any trade having to make a phone call regarding a warranty on a good product that has failed. I've never heard of that. I'm sure that it exists, because I've had my fair share of conversations with salespeople, and they've told me stories. But once I hear the story, I already see the gaps in the story that things weren't done correctly.
Thank you, yes.
So it's like there's a process attached to any of them. Everybody's got, whether it's theirs or anybody else's, the waterproofing system works. Different brands, it works. It's just as simple as that. Whether you're a band guy or a caulking guy or you want to do both, it's up to you. It's better than the old way of doing things, which was just drywall and then a rubber membrane on the bottom part of it, which was what the majority of the water was going to be. And then relying on the tiles for your waterproofing so-called membrane. But that tile is never waterproofing. So I see what you do. You do it once and you understand it. You show it to clients. They get it. They appreciate it. And at that point, you just you price it in. You don't. I told people in the early days, don't even have the argument about the products that you want to use because they're gonna work for you.
Yes,
you've done it. Whether someone's grown up with using Milwaukee tools or DeWalt tools, those tools have worked for you in your process.
Yes.
So it's just price it in for that. Same thing with the products. Price it in for that.
Yes.
If you're coming in and your price for a bathroom is $20,000, and then they're looking at somebody who's selling a posted sign for $9,000. Then the simple question to ask them is why are you considering someone that's half the price that I'm offering? Did you speak to somebody else that's in line with my pricing?
Yes,
because that's the reality of construction. That price that's $9,000 is not the reality of construction.
Thank you.
It suits your budget. It suits your pocketbook. It suits all of that stuff. But will it suit your needs on the purpose of what you want to do?
Exactly.
And it doesn't. So then that's where I fault the clients. I always go back to the clients and fault them, where, especially in today's economical times, man, they're really fighting the dollar.
Yes.
That's as simple as that. They're really fighting it, right? Because they can't justify spending the money that we used to spend. And we know during the pandemic, it was all about people were spending all kinds of money to do certain things, but now they've overspent.
Yes.
Overborrowed, over all kinds of stuff. And now today they're getting 5, 6, 7 quotes to get a price, and all they're doing is they're trying to get that $9,000 price.
Yes.
They're waiting for a contractor to come in, whether that's you or somebody else, to tell them the number that they want to hear.
Yes.
Which is the dumbest thing in my opinion. You need to get the price that what's going to work for what the work is being asked to be done.
I completely agree.
Simple as that, right?
I completely agree. And to add to what you're saying, Manny, it becomes more difficult in tough times. If you haven't gotten a yes and you have a few projects coming to the tail end, you can kind of feel it slipping. But this is why I always say it's good to have a strong foundation as a team, because everyone picks each other up. Everyone is always there's always at least one voice of reason. More often than not, multiple voices of reason. And it's just, maybe it's myself who's a little bit down because we were just experiencing a bit of a stall. But then once again, the markets will eventually pick up. You have to stick to what you know. You have to stick to what you know will work, because what is the point of getting something? And as you mentioned, you install a product that doesn't work for you, and then you're just spending more time recovering on this issue that now you have to fix, and then your reputation, and then you're picking up pieces as you're trying to move forward. So it's not working smarter.
No construction company makes money with callbacks.
Exactly. Yep.
I've never heard of anybody be profitable because they're like, oh, this week we have 10 callbacks, guys, because we have 10 failures.
Yes.
They don't make money on the callbacks. So you're better off. I've always argued on the show several times where it's it just takes as long to do it correctly with the right products as it would to do it incorrectly with the wrong products.
Correct. Yeah.
At that point, when you're doing the work, it takes the same amount of time.
Yes.
The effort's different, but it takes the same amount of time. So might as well do it correctly and not have a callback, right? That's how I look at it. But it is challenging. I mean, I had challenges when economics were good and clients had open purses and they were always looking for great ideas. But then all of a sudden, the problem of having great ideas is you have a wealth of great ideas. And then they blame you for increasing the budget.
Yep.
How is that? You were asking my opinion to give you thoughts on what you wanted to do, and I'm a creative individual, so then I'll keep on throwing ideas at you, and I don't care about sharing those ideas, because if you don't take it, I guarantee that somebody else will, or I'll do it down the line at some point. So I'm not afraid of that. And as a contractor, as a tradesperson, you should never think yourself as a one-trick pony, thinking that this is the only thing you offer. No. We're in this industry because we can offer so much.
Yes.
And we want to improve our skills on so much.
Yes.
So that's how we move forward, right?
I
like that you have that company culture where it's not everybody, there's been plenty of times I get on the job site, I could be having the worst day personally or whatever the story is, right? And you kind of stay quiet because that's who you are. But then all of a sudden you get that one tradesperson who shows up on the job site that is that extra lively, and just fun and energetic.
Yes.
And that rubs off on you, which makes your day a little bit better. And that's the beauty of having this team effort, right?
Yes.
Everyone feeds off each other, right?
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's actually something that I really loved about moving away from corporate culture into the construction. I'll call it the construction culture, honestly, because maybe this is not true everywhere, but I do really respect that construction has a code. Like when you're working with construction trades, like a lot of the time, like obviously you're supposed to do everything with contracts and stuff, but the idea of stealing, a trades guy stealing a painter stealing someone else's painter trades guys and stuff, or going behind someone who you works with back to steal their clients. I've noticed that the people that I work with, they once again, thank you to the people who introduced me into this. They said that if people find out that that's how a business operates, no one wants to do business with them. We came across a certain individual that was operating this way, and I was reassured that don't worry, in a very short amount of time, people will just draw a circle around this guy, because people will know the kind of business that is operating over there. And that is the exact opposite of how we want to conduct ourselves. So I really appreciated that code that I was noticing that everyone had. Like, for example, after work, if someone in our team is feeling down, people are checking up on them on a personal level. I've worked with a lot of huge teams. We had HR, we had trainings about how you should all be a team. No one cared about the other person when they left the office. It was just kind of make sure you don't say too much, make sure you don't get judged. But over here, it's no, we're a family. Hey, is he okay? Or if someone, like you said, if someone's too quiet, people will be like, what's wrong with him? And then someone will come up to you and try to crack some jokes to kind of cheer you up and stuff, which I really, really appreciate that. Like, it's the code of the family. It's very
That's
interesting.
why I embrace it too. It makes a lot of sense. I would never be able to survive in the corporate culture, right?
Yes.
Because I would spend more time in HR than I would at my office.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line, right? Because I wouldn't be that person. I wouldn't understand their mindset. I don't get it. I've always said it. It's true. It's construction culture, but I've always said it over and over. It's a colorful cast of characters in construction. Simple as that.
Yes.
They're just like you meet all kinds of people. They could have had bad beginnings, bad endings. They could have, but we have a connection somehow. We all have a connection somehow where I say we speak construction.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter from where you are, what part of the world or whatever, we speak construction. And I've had this happen. Like I literally have had this happen where I've been in other countries, don't speak their language, but I can communicate with them because of construction.
Yep. I know.
You're looking at machinery, you're looking at tasks that are being done, you're getting a sense of how they're doing it, and then you're still nodding, shaking your head, pointing fingers, discussing things, mentioning certain numbers regarding if it's concrete or wood or whatever it is. You have that construction language and you can communicate. So it takes a special individual to get into this industry and to survive in this industry, but it takes an extra special individual to thrive in this industry because you have to navigate through all that stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And that's to agree with what you're saying. That's why I always try to treat this with the respect that it deserves. So, for example, when we started going into the commercial side of things, there's ambition and then there's making sure you know what you're doing kind of situation.
What was the primary reason to get into commercial?
The primary reason to get into commercial was because Reno Rabbit's long-term vision, and this I may have gotten from my father and Yekaterina may have gotten from her father, because they're both individuals who are thriving in their particular field, but they're operating as humanitarians or philanthropists to help other people. So Yekaterina and I had a very firm agreement that one thing that we should aim for, this is also once we get the HCRA and this is further down the road, we want to help build affordable housing for Canadians. And I'm not just saying this, I genuinely mean this, because I've seen my father make a difference with my own eyes. I've seen Yekaterina has seen her father make a difference, and she's told me about it, and I've met the man, and I can see how he did it. And I respect how he did it. So we want to make that kind of a difference. Because I know that if your intention is to help society or help people as a whole, not only is it a noble cause that acts as its own energy drink or its own motivator, but even if you don't get all the money or if you don't get all the other kind of life goals a person has, at least you know you made a difference. And that is its own fulfillment in its own way. So that's kind of why, to answer your question, that we started to go into commercial, because if we start building affordable houses, it would be multi-level properties, thinking about condos. Yekaterina can speak much better on this than I can. That's why I don't want to go too much into the types of buildings, because she was walking me through it. But the idea is to somehow build affordable housing for Canadians. Now, the starting point that we found, we were fortunate. The first commercial job that we did, I was actually listening to one of your shows, and you were trying to explain to someone that that's not the real commercial world when you don't have like a design and it's not very specific and stuff.
It was with Stefan from Rock Renovation.
Oh, okay, there you go. Perfect, yes.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I was like, I think I know why that's happening, because the first person that I spoke to, and I was told by everyone, this is not commercial, by the way. This is not how this is supposed to happen. It was a family business, and what happened is that they had a design that they paid a lot of money from, but I think the number that was quoted to them was way too out of their budget. So then they found us. Now, when we met them, we met the whole family, the husband, the wife, and the daughter, all very nice people. They built an amazing business. Leela's restaurant, by the way, it's the amazing doubles, by the way, if you guys want to try. What's it called? Roti and doubles. Yeah. When we saw their design plan, she told me that we need something along the lines of this, but she wasn't happy with the design, but she'd already paid for it at that point. So we kind of met her halfway in the sense that I told her, look, I know you've already spent a lot of money on this design, so we'll try to stick to the schematic, obviously the architecture, the plumbing and stuff you don't want to change. I'm talking about the front-facing side. And then we worked together with her and built out this project, but it did not feel like what a commercial project actually is, with the 10% holdback and the financing and all that stuff. So it was more like a residential, but in a commercial. So when I heard that on your previous show, I'm like, I believe that's what happened. But then we once did this cardiologist's office, and that was a commercial show. We didn't take on the full thing. Thankfully, we were part of the project, but that was extremely intense. Like, even just the invoicing. Like, I mean, Katrina, this is something that she's very good with, and she works with our accountant on this and all that stuff. But my head started spinning when I was just looking at how the numbers work and how you're supposed to invoice and then the holdback and stuff. So I learned a lot. It was very humbling from my perspective. But I was treading lightly from the beginning. But that's when I realized that there are these other kind of home family-owned businesses that are being turned away.
Yeah.
Because they come up to someone and they don't have a lot of the times. Leela had a drawing, but a lot of times they don't have a drawing. They're just like, I want a restaurant. And
protect your investment one drop at a time. Your home or project deserves the very best when it comes to waterproofing. Trust nothing less than the service that guarantees you peace of mind and lasting protection. Meet Antonio, the expert behind Aquastop Waterproofing. Whether you're a homeowner wanting to keep your basement dry or a contractor in search of a reliable partner, Antonio and his skilled team deliver unparalleled quality and service. From the first site assessment to the final backfill, every detail is handled with precision, ensuring your project is completed on time, on budget, and to the highest standard. Antonio's team doesn't just solve problems, they prevent them. With a proven track record of working with insurance companies, educating clients, and using the best products available, Aquastop Waterproofing offers a solution you can depend on for years to come. Experience the difference with a team committed to excellence. Antonio and Aquastop Waterproofing are your go-to professionals for all things waterproofing. Get in touch with Aquastop Waterproofing today at 647-631-4144 or visit them at www.aquastopwaterproofing.ca. For direct inquiries, email Antonio at aquastopwaterproofing.ca. Let's make sure your property stays safe and sound, rain or shine. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life. But they also don't have the interest to hire a design firm that's going to come in and charge them an insane amount of money just to come up with a concept.
Yes.
When the reality is, I'm envious of what Stefan did because, I did that early, long time ago. I did it for a restaurant. And it was the same thing. You're discussing things with the person directly.
Yes.
It's a one-off person. They want to expand it. So they don't have the mindset to hire a big interior design firm that would do the bigger retails and things like that. That eventually will come. I'm sure that him and yourself will get into that space.
Thank you.
But I think there's a lot of value of dealing with that mom and pop shop with dealing with the mom and pop.
Yes.
Directly first.
Yes.
And let them grow. And then obviously they're always going to revert back to you guys to do the next location and the next location and stuff. And that's what's happening with him, which is really great.
Yes.
But he's bringing value to that. Whether he's stepping on interior design toes or not, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Simple as that. He's still fulfilling the need that they're looking for. Their objective is to make their business more attractive, to get more sales, to get more customers. And that's what he achieved. And I'm sure you guys are doing the exact same thing.
Exactly. Right. And Stefan, if you're listening, shout out to you, man. Honestly, when I heard you say that you actually prefer the commercial, the mom and pop commercial, I agree. It's a good vibe. Like,
the traditional commercial world is the one that I don't like because of the 90 to 1 day pay period. And then also the restrictions on agreements where it's like if you don't finish it by a certain date, you're now penalized.
Yes.
So there's a possibility that Sure, we charge more on commercial. You have to cover your bases. But there's a part of that contract that if it happens, you actually may end up putting money towards this reno instead of you making money on this reno.
Yes.
That's the part that I don't like. I never liked the 90 or 120 pay period, like where they're holding funds.
Yes.
And now you have to carry a float at that point, which is very challenging. This situation and your situation is unique. It's different. It's the mom and pop syndrome, right?
Exactly.
Which makes a lot of sense. It works, right?
Yes. And we actually...
And you get to be creative, too.
That was it. Honestly, that was actually something that we really enjoyed, because right after we did that, we also did a bakery. It was these two doctors. It's in Burlington. It's right on the main street. Aroma Bakery. What's it called? Beautiful layout, but similar situation. It was 3 gentlemen. They were all partners, doctors by trade, and they thought that they wanted to open a bakery. They're also doing another project on the side, which they're kind of planning on right now. It's in the design phases. But this was another situation where we had to be creative. We had to try to come, like you said, to help them out with the design part. We do have a designer in-house. However, in this particular situation, they weren't looking for the design. You know, when you go from start to end and you have that full, God knows how many pages, and they've specified everything down to a T. I even offered that to them, because that is something that we do offer at our company. But like you said, majority of people don't want to pay for it. Like they'll say, no, I'll come up with the design. And then the problem with that, I try to tell them, I'm like, okay, so when the tile is being laid, you know which way you want the tile to be laid. You know all that stuff right now. You know the seismic drawings, the schematic drawings, all this stuff is in your head and confirmed. Yes.
They don't.
Yeah, I know. It's just.
I know they don't, right? They just assume it's just easy enough to do that.
Yes.
I get it. I understand that.
Correct. Yeah, and the way that we try to kind of position it to our clients is we tell them that, guys, look, like, we're helping people do this for a living, and it's taking up a lot of our time and a lot of our energy. So, and you're working 2 full-time jobs, and you don't do this every day. So there are a lot of things that you don't know what you don't know. There are things you don't even know to consider, and that is why you need either a designer, or you need to actually pay. Otherwise, you get what you're paying for. And then it turns into, oh, I should have, I could have, I would have. And it's like, well, that's exactly what the designing phase is for, to help avoid all these little problems. Otherwise, it's like contractor/designer job with no designer, which is not a good recipe particularly, but you have to. Like,
in all fairness, like, as much as or clients think that the construction industry has created its own problem by creating this stigma that they're all trying to take advantage of us and take money from us, the interior design industry has done the exact same thing on the flip side. So you get someone that is in interior design that will come up with all those specs. And I've seen proper design books for construction projects where every question is answered. It's there. The homework is done. But then I've seen versions where so many interpretations are left open.
Yes.
And then you're expecting the contractors to figure this out. And I'm like, it's not their wheelhouse. You're being paid for X amount. Then they also take advantage of the fact that with the clients at the very beginning where, well, our fee is X amount, generally 5 figures, to get the ball rolling. And then we have an X amount hourly rate for us to go shopping and source out your material. And then before they know it, that 10,000 turns into 100,000 just for design features, right? That's how they look at it. And I'm like, you guys created your own problem by doing that. And now you're taking advantage of clients. Any industry, there's certain clients that have a lot of money and they're more than willing to pay for it. But there's also that same industry, they don't want it. There's clients that the majority of them don't want to pay that amount.
Yes.
Like, I'm against architects that will drop a fee that's a percentage of the construction costs. Because that makes no sense. At that point, you don't know exactly what the construction cost is, but you as a client, you're agreeing to a 10% whatever so if your bill goes to 1.5, you're automatically taking $150,000 as a result of that.
Yeah,
that's crazy for an architect fee. I'm sorry, but that's crazy. So I'll always recommend and deal with architects that are on a flat. That's your profession. You know exactly what it takes, what the scope is attached to designing, drawing, packaging a 5,000 square foot house.
Yes.
You don't need to wait until a construction budget's put together for you to turn around and go, well, I'm going to make 10 points on it or greater, whatever it is that. And now designers are doing that too. So they take advantage at the beginning because they can. Everybody has so much money at the beginning, but then the GC's left at the end holding the bag, and then you get clients saying, well, remember that time that this didn't happen correctly? Well, I feel there should be a discount as a result of that time that this didn't happen correctly.
Yes.
And then you're the quarterback waiting at the very end there, and then now you have to take the hit to make the customer client happy, and you're like, this is not right. Everybody else is left. They made their money. They're using it as a portfolio piece, but they're waiting on you to finish it so they can come in and photograph and use videos and do that content creation.
Yes.
But you can't slap us and then take advantage of them at the beginning, right?
Yes, really well said, Manny. Thank you.
I know, I see it. I see it all the time, right? So I just speak. I mean, it might be part of the reason why I don't have a lot of interior designers on the show that come on the show and discuss things, because I could easily point fingers at faults that you guys are creating, right? We want to work with you, but the problem is that you can't tie our hands and take advantage of the situation and then leave everything for us to fix at the end.
Yep.
You can't, right? And I've had so many conversations with tradespeople who are going, we had a meeting, but they never showed up. And then all of a sudden the client was asking us to do it. Then they got upset because they were being asked to do what they were supposed to do. Or then the designer will just tell them, can you just figure that out? I'm like, no, it's your duty. You're supposed to come to this job site, put on your PPE, and then show up on this meeting and have this conversation and discuss this.
Yes.
This is what you're being compensated for.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm being compensated to handle the trade and the scope associated with that trade. That's what I'm being handled. If you want me to start designing and coming up with a palette, then there's the fee for it.
Yes.
And then you should subtract it from the interior designer.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's just like, that's where you get the mom and pops. You get the smaller projects. A lot of people don't want to spend that extra money. Same thing with the architect fee. You'll get a client who starts the ball rolling, and then their friends are doing all their Google research, and architect's fees could be this range.
Yes.
Interior design fees could be this range. And then contractor fees could be this range, right? A management fee or whatever it is.
Yes.
And then they always look at it like, well, we can't pay those fees for architect and designer. Let's try to figure out how we bring those down.
Yes.
These seem reasonable regarding the contractor. But then they take those fees down and they drop everything onto the contractor now with his trades or her trades to figure out what they were supposed to be doing.
Yes.
You should have just paid or negotiated the right fee for those services.
Agree.
There are people that will do those services for far cheaper. There are people that will do it for far more expensive.
Yep.
Same thing with construction. Same thing with trade. You can get a plumber. They'll come in and do a fixture at a price of $300. You can get another plumber and do the fixture at $1,300. They're doing the exact same thing, but you just shop around and try to find the right one, right?
Correct.
But definitely look up, are they a master plumber? Do they have the insurances? Do they know what they're talking about? Are they well versed in that product that's being installed?
Exactly.
Like, so there's a reason why that person might be charging $1,300 because they know how complicated this toilet is.
Yes.
Technology attached to toilets these days is very it's insane. It's no longer 2 T-bolts and a wax or rubber gasket anymore. It's not, right? There's a lot more to it going on these days. So now you want a plumber who understands all that stuff.
100%.
I'm hearing stories of certain trades that won't even solder. Like, they're so used to pressing or they're so used to crimping. They've never even soldered. And you're like going, this is insane. This is part of the trade. Like, even if you don't do it on current jobs, you as a tradesperson who wants to be in this industry for a long time, you better find somebody that you can go work with that will at least educate you on how to do this stuff, whether you do it on your own in your own home and try it out. But at some point, you're going to be using those old techniques to do something because you're going to come across a house of that age. And then it won't be as simple as just get rid of all the old because the client wants to change this, but they want to still keep certain units, appliances or whatever.
Yes.
They don't want to get rid of that. They want to still reuse it. That means you have to tie into the old.
Yes.
And you need to have that skill set, right?
100%. And you have to really care. Like, you have to really care about what your site looks like and have team members that are also sharing that vision. We specialize in condos, and I always say, even at the home show, we got so many condo leads, which was awesome because a lot of contractors, even a lot of my colleagues, they won't touch condos, but especially the older ones.
I've done one condo. I hate it.
Oh, good. And I don't blame you. I honestly don't.
I don't like it because of the rules.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Agreed. It's especially when they shut the condo down, that just added to the fire. I was like, why? But
elevator rules, starting rules, ending rules, what can be done to the structure rules. Sometimes you have to use their workforce as sub-trades rules.
Yes.
Union rule. Like, there's just way too many rules for me to be a part of any of this situation. On the other hand, there's other people that love them because they can charge that condo price.
Yep.
Right?
100%. And it's important. I even tell clients, I'm like, majority of contractors, they won't even touch it. I'm like, but from our side, I honestly think our pricing is extremely fair. We're never the most expensive by a mile, but we're not the cheapest. And it's not good to aim for that. And I tell my clients, if you're shopping around for contractors, I'm like, you can even try to talk to our clients, like our previous clients, to get word of mouth, because a lot of them, the beauty of downtown is so many of these condos are so near each other. So I tell clients, I'm like, if you want to go and see it, I have a very good relationship with all my customers. I make sure to check in on them. Even sometimes on a personal level. But if you wanted to go, they're open arms. You can go and check out the work. You can ask them. You can even ask the security guard downstairs what they thought about us. I'm fully open to it. But with condo boards, like you said, rules. Like I've had a condo board. We use Intact Insurance because it's like, I thought in terms of hierarchy, they're one of the better ones for sure. But I once had a condo board request that we get Intact to send them a certificate with the condo board's name on it, with Reno Rabbit's name on it.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah, and then say that we are covering this job for $2 million liability and stuff. And then you go to Mississauga in some of these older condos, and you can see the rules are so laxed over there, so it can kind of throw someone off if you've only been working in those kind of condos and then you do your first, like downtown Toronto kind of condo with all the rules in the world. But the good thing was that because everyone in our team, they're extremely patient. We have like a little file that we send to the board that has everyone's licenses, WSIBs, the names of everyone that's going to be attending. They still make us wear name tags, but in some buildings, but that's okay. The other most important thing when you're pricing a condo, one thing I could share is always make sure the distances from the door to the elevator, from the elevator to where you're going to be throwing out the garbage.
Another rule that I don't like. Because if you forget something, it's a set amount of time and effort to go get that.
Yep.
Whether that, if you're lucky, to your vehicle, which for the most part is never parked in the underground. It's parked even further.
Yep.
Like there's just way too many rules. I did one, never will do it again. I just didn't like any. I was in construction for the purpose of having fun.
Yep. Yes.
Learning and trying ideas and building, and then eventually managing and working with more tradespeople and expanding my creativity. That's what the reason was.
Yes.
If you want to tie my hands and force me to play by your rules, I'm not interested. There's plenty of other people who will do it. Plenty of other people will do it.
I completely agree. On that note, to tie into your earlier thing about making sure you have the right plumber that makes sure that solders and doesn't press and stuff. When we opened up a lot of these condo walls, I got to experience something. You open up the condo walls and you can see the garbage, which I'm not judging anyone for, from the previous contractor who did the reno 30 years ago. And it's bad. Like, I mean,
one less trip downstairs.
Exactly. Like in my mind, you look at it, I'm like, come on, like really, you couldn't put that in the but maybe they were in a rush, maybe whatever the reasoning is.
No, it's just pure laziness.
Thank you.
They don't want to. Like I've never done that. It's just we always like. What's the point of that?
Exactly.
There's no point in it, right?
You should I always have
sounded like
some
it was
pride.
a contractor that didn't like the rules.
Yeah, I know.
That's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, 100%.
They're like, well, I'm not going to carry this down. I got to carry it all the way down.
Yeah. No, and I agree. But you see, that's the thing. It's good to have that pride, and I appreciate that about other contractors that have that pride in their workspace. They want it to be clean. You can even tell by the tradespeople you're working with that if they, without someone telling them, will commit the last 30 days, almost like a broken record, they'll just pick up a broom and start cleaning after themselves. It's not the last day, but it's just a habit that you see certain individuals have. Some will do it more than others, but I love that about our team. Everyone has that mentality that if you see something, it's not about who left it. It's not my job. It's not your pick it up, put it in the bag, just get it out of the way. Sweep. What's it called?
It's the group.
It's the group. 100%.
Where did the name came from? Like, how did you guys come up with that name?
So I have another company called Mohawk Marketing, which it's coming up to its 10th year in business. So I was basically, that's kind of going back into when I used to do more sales and stuff and for product management and product selling. But when I came up with that name, I remember I'd spent a lot of time trying to think of how to come up with the name. I read a lot about it. So alliteration I found is extremely important in branding. For example, Costco, Best Buy, BBCC. So having alliteration makes the name a little bit more catchy. So I thought Mohawk Marketing. Now, when we were doing renovations, like we were my brother came up with you have all these silly names that come up, Renoco, like Renoco, and I was like, come on, man. But we were trying to think what can personify friendly, nice, speed, because that is one of our superpowers, and alliteration. So it kept like Reno Rat came up, but that made us all laugh because I'm like rat. I'm like, a bunch of brown guys come up and this, the Reno Rats. But no, I was like Reno Rabbit, and everyone, it was like instant. Everyone was like, that's the one.
Three-way the world. These little puppies. I'm speaking from experience. I've actually installed these and I love these. Three-way prefabricated inside drywall corner. The first one-piece solution for perfect, crisp corners every time. With three-way, you'll improve your quality, save on labor, and cut down on time. Traditional methods require 3 tapes, lots of sanding, and high skill. But with three-way corners, they install in just a fraction of the time with fewer steps. It is adjustable for any angle, reinforced to cover gaps, and designed to blend seamlessly into the corner. Say goodbye to pesky touch-ups and hello to flawless finishes. Try 3-Way today and revolutionize your drywall game. Perfect corners every time. To purchase or check out some how-to videos to see the installs in action, visit 3way.ca or connect with them at 306-514-3768 or drop them an email at 3waytheworld@gmail.com. Connect with me, TCL, and stop by the studio and get a free pack on us for anyone to try. And trust me, I'm telling you, you'll love it. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
And it felt right, and it, like, even when we're at the home show, it feels so nice, like having people come by and you can hear little kids saying Reno Rabbit. If you actually see our commercials, to answer our previous question, that how are we approaching them, we're using a different kind of marketing. We even started a different company, Demo Rabbit, which focuses on demolition. Okay. And I really want you to see that commercial right after this. It's
Demo Rabbit, just because it's an offshoot of Reno Rabbit?
Yes, and it is basically a subsidiary of Reno Rabbit, but it primarily focuses on demolition services. And I can explain why. It's because if you are a one-stop shop, which is really kind of what we're trying to promote Reno Rabbit as, not a handyman service, but literally as in the sense that we can try to help all your needs, the comfort of a small family business with the reach of a large construction firm. That's kind of the philosophy. However, if you're marketing and you are throwing yourself out like that, it is very difficult for you to get any demolition clicks because those companies are they're demolition companies. Yeah. So you're
not being looked at.
Exactly, especially by the bigger companies. So that's why we made sure to open a proper subsidiary. The insurance is a lot more expensive for demolition. Like it's like, but you have to give it the respect it deserves, and that's why we decided to move into that industry. Demolition is kind of like a superpower of ours because we can do it like speed-wise. When I talk to other clients about timelines that they're being quoted and timelines that we're quoting, it's a huge gap. And it's
really?
It reminds me of Wow One Day Paints mentality, where they're like, oh, we can but they don't actually do it in one day depending on the size, but they're like, because you shouldn't, but the idea is they can just throw more painters, like more labor, sometimes that's not a good idea, to basically minimize the time that it takes in terms of number of days. In the same way, when we do demo, everyone is has their own quarter. There are project managers on the seal. You have to have your PPE, you have to have your fire extinguishers, all that stuff. But for example, we did a cat hospital and we were done in a day and a half. Top to bottom, full gut, no nail left behind, everything to the stud. Client, who was a lawyer, was extremely shocked because we gave him a timeline of 2 weeks. And we were done in a day and a half, literally one day and a half.
Why did they go so fast?
It was just because we were trying, it was the first time we were doing a proper demolition. So we really when you're trying to make a name for yourself, we weren't looking at it like we want to make money off this project. We were more like, let's just, really staff it and really make sure we give it our all. So we kind of may have overstaffed a little bit, I would say. Not overstaffed in a bad way. We just had a lot more manpower than I would say needed for a 2-week timeline.
Did the client come back at you and go, listen, you kind of priced this out for 2 weeks? No, right? Because this was the price, and then you just thought that it might have been finished in 2 weeks, right?
Exactly. The client was very happy. Because this was an investment from his side, so he wanted to open a second law firm in there and get like the full renovations and stuff, and we're still working on the design aspect of it. But he was excited because we don't do when you have a cat hospital, it can kind of leave a smell kind of in the back. So
I'm not a cat person.
Oh, sorry, neither am I.
You wouldn't find me in there.
Okay, fair.
I know exactly what you're talking about, that smell. Like, I don't understand anybody that has an animal that poops inside the house.
Yeah, no, it's
other than a man.
A
person, right? But we have a toilet for that, and we have pee traps for that.
Exactly.
Right? The cat box, litter box, I can walk into a house and I'll smell it right away. And I'm like, you got a cat?
Yeah, 100%.
I can only imagine a cat. That's going to be a lot of boxes there.
It's like it's embedded into the studs. Like, imagine you demo the place to the stud, like it's gone. You can still smell it as if like nothing happened. And then that's when I look into it. We did not handle this. He reached out to some company. I believe the method that they used was they ozonated it. Like they use O3 air to kind of fume out the smell. Yeah. So I did find that interesting because I was trying to see if maybe we could help him find someone, but it worked. Like he told me after, he's like, it's gone. I'm so happy. And once the design is done, hopefully we can get started on the build of that as well. Also in Burlington. Another example that I can give you is that we once did a condo renovation and our client had a very, very low timeline in terms of 3.5 weeks. We had to do 2 bathrooms. We had to do all the flooring.
Renovation,
yes. And I told her that 3 weeks is a little bit, like
3 bathrooms?
Two bathrooms.
Two bathrooms.
It was a 3-piece bathroom. Both were 3-piece bathrooms in the condo. They were right next to each other. And these are the kind of requests that you start getting sometimes. And I even told her,
How
I'm
did
like,
you handle that?
I basically told her the truth. Like, I'm like, look, just like how Wow One Day paint, they don't actually paint it in one day.
No,
You
they don't.
shouldn't paint it in one day because there's a way to do things. So basically, after going a bit in back and forth, we did get her to extend her timeline out a bit, but it was still right to the rim. I believe we finished that entire project in just under 5 weeks. And that was...
See, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it was like sleepless nights. Like, I mean, we were there like January 1st, any day we could take. Seriously, like the condo would not let you use percussion tools or work on holidays and stuff. So we had gotten permission because the condo management guy, he was actually very sweet. We'd asked him, look, we're not going to get any tools. Can we just come in and take advantage of any other stuff that we can do, whether it's mudding, whether it's drywalling, tape, anything that doesn't involve, okay, fine, maybe drywalling, a few nail guns here and there, but I promise we'll tread lightly. It was just one day, but I'm just trying to explain. We were trying to take advantage of every minute that we had, because in condos, like you said, you can't go in on weekends, you can't go in on holidays, you have to go 9 to 5. Rush hour starts at 9, it starts at 5. So it's like a 3-hour drive in. Your day is not that 8 hours. Your day is 16 hours.
Yeah.
And you got to be back the next day. So it's like, like driving home, eat, sleep, wake up, and you're back in a 3-hour traffic jam. And then you get to the building and it's just up and down, up and down, up and down.
They were fine with the, I guess, slightly extra hours and stuff like that.
That saved us.
But even on some condo boards that you could get fined. They'll, like, if you get a neighbor that's upset or they didn't like that the noise was going on, they didn't like the extra traffic that was coming down the hallway,
yes,
or being used in the elevator or whatever it was, they could just complain, and all of a sudden now the condo board's got to turn around and fine you.
I completely agree.
I don't like it. Any fines I get, I'll fight. I'll dispute. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just simple. But that's why I've never been a fan. I'll never be a fan of it. But you guys are making money from it. It's great.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, like, are trade shows still beneficial to this industry?
I'm starting to...
How many times have you done it? You did the spring, you did the fall. Did you do last year as well too?
From Reno Rabbit, no, but I've been going to the home shows since I was, I'd say, 21 years old. I know, because different brands, right? Like
Exhibiting or exhibiting?
Exhibiting.
Exhibiting what? So you're exhibiting the marketing side of things?
So different companies that I was going there to represent. I've been at the home show representing Bell Media, Connecticut Water Systems, Scotiabank Credit Cards was once they had a booth, but that was like because they were launching a new GM card or something, and they made me the director of the program. But it was just coming from different programs that it opened my eyes to the world of trade shows, because there's you'll see it. People sell at the auto show, people sell at the home show. Like the home show is for selling, but like even at the CNE, they have a little exhibition. And a lot of the same people you'll notice are there. So I remembered because the guys that I partnered with, they'd never really seen the world of trade shows, because they just, they went directly into construction. So I was trying to show them that, look, when you come to the home show and you see the kind of money some of these companies are putting into their booths, like they're buying a 20 by 20 booth, they're building a swimming pool, and it has like rocks and they fill it with water for a 3-day show. Why would they invest? Some companies can just afford it and they're just trying to show face. I understand.
Yeah, that's where I'm going at, is I'm trying to figure out the ROI on it. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously you said you had a lot of people come, there was a lot of interest from condos, and I guess you have to figure out some sort of, and you guys probably have done this, like the home show costs X amount to get the space.
Yes.
It costs X amount to design the booth.
Yes.
It costs X amount to have it staffed.
Yes.
Right? And then it costs all that prep beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
It costs money there.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have to have a cutoff point where, okay, we need this many people to inquire about our business, this many leads, and out of those leads, we need to get this many for us to justify the expense of being at the home show.
Yes.
Is that not the case, right?
100%. And I really respect you for saying it that way, because it's a proper way to approach a sales program.
Yeah.
It's because the thing is that a trades program, I feel, would not be beneficial if you don't have the right guy standing there. I saw a lot of booths where I call them vertical coffins. No insult. It's just the truth. It's just like, I'm like...
I know what you're talking about. They want the day to end.
Exactly. I even try to tell people, I'm like, you don't want to look like that guy. I can tell you the psychology. We've all been there. You walk down, you're in Eaton Center. There's a shop that sells hats. I'm just making it up. And you see the one guy from your peripheral behind the counter looking down and hiding his cell phone. nowhere in your thought space are you thinking, you know what? Let me go inside that store. Even if you needed a hat, you probably wouldn't, because you just feel bad for that guy. You're like, oh man, I must suck standing there for 8 hours. That's what I mean. Like, if you're gonna build an event, make it a show, like really make it entertaining for the people. You have to there has to be some kind of life. People, when they're walking by, I think everyone told me that, like, we can hear you all over the show, and I'm like, good. What's it called?
So describe your booth, like visual. I want you to share because most contractors don't go to the trade shows anymore.
Yes.
Like the home trade shows anymore.
Yes,
like,
yes.
There's a small few that do go. Most contractors these days are going to the industry trade shows and paying attention to that. So they're going there to benefit their businesses on how to move it forward, but they're not going there for clientele. But you went to the home show for clientele primarily.
Yes.
So what did you do differently, or how did you set up your booth? What was the size of the booth, and then who did you house the booths with?
Yes. Okay. So thank you. So basically, we got a 10 by 15 size booth. The next show, we're going to redesign it for a 20 by 20 because our president has a few ideas, which I'm really excited about. However,
your wife,
my wife, yes, call her the president, because it's like you gotta have to. But yeah,
title is there for the reason of the title.
Yes, 100%. But yes, the way that we did it on the previous show is that we had a back wall and we created a side wall. So think of an L, and essentially we did the MDF panels. We actually used wood because we were trying to make it look more. We stained the wood panels as we went. I had a 3D hologram fan, which I got from China. It's awesome because it looks like the Reno Rabbit logo is like 3D floating. I just had to put it high up so no one goes and tries to touch it, because it is a fan that's spinning essentially. And then as you're moving down the booth, right on the L intersection, we built a Schluter shower half open. We legit did it. Like imagine if you just sliced it down the middle, this half a style, this half a Schluter opening. And then as it continued, we had our water systems, we had our custom blinds, and all the other, and the faucets and fixtures that we kind of provide, whether like Marathon Hardware gives them to us, brands like Wi-Fi and all that stuff. They're Italian and they just have that pull. People at trade shows, it's like they're in bazaar mode, right? Like bazaar meaning I want to touch, feel, found, the whole situation. So the idea, and then right in the center, we have a nice, simple, empty-ish table, which has a sheet where you can fill out your forms. And then every show we have a different gimmick. So the first one was fill in, book your free consultation today, and you could also enter a chance to win a free reverse osmosis system. And someone did win, by the way. I didn't just, I always used to be wondering if they actually handed out. I took a picture of the whole 9 yards. We did give someone the free RO. They didn't buy anything from us, but they got the RO, so that's all that mattered. But then this time we noticed that because the question, because you only have a few seconds when someone's walking past you, right? So, hey there, how's it going? Good, how are you? That already passed the booth. So please, no formalities, just right to the point. And so when people were walking by, it's like, enter your chance to win the free reverse osmosis system. They'd be like halfway there. 70% of the walk is gone. 30% left, can't catch them, can't pull them back. So you need to think of a way that was more to the point. So this is just like reminds me of Costco, because Costco has like 7,000 people every day walking through, and our jobs was to talk to every single one of them, which was fun. But people would walk by and I'd be like, renovations? And they'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, that was a lot easier. So I'm like, much easier than saying that whole sentence. So it just worked, simple, to the point.
So you just said the word renovations.
We do renovations. You guys looking for some renos? Like, simple.
That's it, right to the point.
Right to the, and they'd be like, yeah. And the one advantage to answer your question as to why I think trade shows are beneficial if you have the right salesperson pulling people. I saw these people walk by other booths. They all do the same thing we do. They just walk by those booths. Those people they just didn't even think that,
their first thought process is, hi, how are you doing?
Exactly. Hey guys.
I'm at a trade show. Like, I'm here for a purpose.
Yes.
Like, you're totally right by saying renovations. We do renovations.
Yeah. 100%. Just get into the head. And the person that is thinking I need a good renovations. Yeah. Like, that's why you're trying to click. I always tell people, look for a glitch. Don't listen to what they're saying. What they're saying is not true. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I'm not interested. That's the classic.
And I find it so hilarious because I'm like, this awkward silence of, okay, but you're standing still. You haven't walked away. So your body is telling me you are, but your mouth is just telling me no. So if someone is walking by and I say renovations and I see a glitch isn't turning their head. People turn their head. You can throw something at someone, they'll turn their head. But if they have a physical glitch, like if they stop, if they slow down, or if they turn, gotcha. Like, in my mind, I'm like, some of them they don't like talking as much, so you have to be a little bit, all right, just come here. And then they will come, and those have turned into sales. So you need to know how to pull clients. Otherwise, you are wasting your time at trade shows. I honestly believe that.
No, I totally agree with you.
So yes.
So it's like if you're going to spend the time and effort to build a booth and house it and design it and try to appeal to people visually, then you better have the sales pitch ready to follow up with it, right? And then
100%.
obviously try it, see what's working. If it's not working, be ready to edit and change, go from the fly, right?
Yes.
So
I
I like
agree.
that you were saying, yeah, we do renovations, and they just perk their interest, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I'm actually in the market for a renovation. That's why they're at the show.
Exactly.
You're at the show to sell renos. They're at the show to buy renos.
Exactly.
So basically, you're meeting people that need each other.
Exactly.
It's a question of whether or not they want you. And that's where you have to reel them in at that point.
100%.
So you saw the return on investment on it for doing this.
Already we have seen it, which is
Yeah.
amazing given how short it's been.
You guys and the president, everybody, you guys break down and you go, okay, well, listen, this is what it costs. Like, this is everything, labor-wise, everything. This is what it costs, and this is where all the leads came in, and these are all the potentials of leads.
Yes.
So we're looking pretty good.
Yes,
Looking
100.
Very good.
That would be our president and my wife. What's it called? If you see like the amount of data, it's important because if you're, I do agree. If you do this stuff blindly, it's not good. Like okay, you can say, oh, I made like 6 sales. We made a lot of money. I don't even need to do the math. I know I made my money back. No. Look at it. Actually do the ROI. It's important because looking at lead conversions may seem like a waste of time, but when you start, I always tell people, try using the graph. If you don't like looking at a lot of numbers, Excel now, you can turn anything into a graph. Like you literally just press a button. If that's easier for you to understand, use that. Yeah. But just it's almost like a motivating factor, but I've run a lot of sales programs and or many different kinds of programs, and I understand that if you don't have targets, if you don't have a plan, which I understand takes time because you have to enter the data, someone has to do it. But the largest corporations in the world are making. My brother works in corporate sales. He works for pack lease. So they lease and sell. They lease and finance trucks, like those big ones. They custom make the bodies and all that stuff. And he tells me that they make them do it. Like he told me there was a guy that was working in their industry for 30 years. He's called a hugger because he basically goes around and he maintains like those really high end relationships with these really really big clients. So if he leaves, it's going to be a problem because all those clients are there because of him, kind of thing, right? So they pay him well. He travels. They were willing to let him go because he did not want to do this new data entry thing that they entered. So my brother said that it doesn't matter who it is. That's how important that this data entry stuff is. And corporations can see it because that data can be used and they are using it. Fine, we might not have the algorithms and all that stuff, but not with AI. I think it's getting a little bit easier for the smaller guy to actually take this information. If you don't know what to do with it, you can at least ask AI to kind of help you. Exactly. Like do the work. But to that point, Yekaterina's background is when in university, like they really kind of drilled that into her head. I remember when she was doing her courses, Ryerson was not easy in that regard for the courses that she was taking, and she got a 4.0 GPA. So like, honor roll student, chaired at the graduation and stuff, but she's pretty committed to making sure that those things are. I'm giving her credit where it's due because it's not easy telling a bunch of construction guys to make sure you're entering your data. But it's
critical.
It's critical. And she's shown us over time and with a lot of patience that there is reasoning behind it. But in the beginning, it was pretty rough because no one wanted to do it. Even myself, knowing that what the advantage is, I found myself waking up certain days and not doing it, not because I was late. Okay, no, I was being lazy. I'll just say it, call it what it is. And she would tell me that, did you enter the leads into the CRM? And I'm like, I'll do it. No, that's what the excuse is. I'm like, I will do it now. It has to stop. Do it now. Yeah. And that's the only way. It hurts now. It'll turn into a habit later, and then you'll be grateful for it. It's like brushing your teeth.
Attention homeowners and businesses. Are you looking for top-notch electrical contracting services you can trust? Consider the expert tradesperson behind Effect Electric Ltd. They take pride in delivering quality, service, and professional installation on time and on budget. From Kohler generators to main service upgrades or network data installation, they do it all. With years of experience and a commitment to excellence, Carlo and his team at Effect Electric Ltd. are your go-to professionals for all your electrical and generator needs. Effect Electric Ltd. is an authorized Kohler home energy generator dealer. Kohler has air-cooled 26 RCA units, the quietest, the most powerful, and exceptionally durable generator with 109 amps max power on liquid propane. Custom color options, camouflage options, and every generator Kohler makes is built to last and is equipped with a commercial-grade engine. Call Effect Electric Ltd. today at 416-508-7725 or visit them at effectelectricltd.kohlergeneratordealer.com. Let's build something great together. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life. So where's the future of Reno Rabbit?
The future of Reno Rabbit is...
Who's in the mixing pot there, like regarding, it's yourself, obviously your wife, the president,
Yes.
your partners. Do you guys get together on a weekly, monthly basis to figure out where do we go next? How do we go next?
Yes, so there is thank you for asking. There's a weekly meeting that happens virtually just because it's a little bit difficult logistically for all of us to get to the same place. But however, on that note, monthly for sure, we do make it a point
What day of the week have you chosen?
Monday. Ironically, the Mondays, but it's just so we can get it out of the way. Whenever it comes to Friday, we always plan for the Friday, but then the Friday comes and everyone's like, oh man, guys, you want to be with your wife or your kid, or everyone's like, guys, just enjoy the weekend. Can we at least? But we end up working on the Saturday sometimes.
So how much time do you guys allocate on Monday for the meeting?
45 minutes is what we set.
At what time in the morning?
9.
At night?
No, 9 in the morning.
9 in the morning.
Pardon me. Yeah. I thought you said in the morning. No, because it's just get it out of the way, right? Like, so it's just to have it in the morning. At first, when we said Monday morning, we thought it was a little bit chaotic because we're like, because Monday. But then it turns out that we don't want to do it on Sunday night because everyone deserves that day. I truly believe that. But then on the Monday morning, it's kind of like your precursor to set the plan for the week. I was reading online that some companies, they prefer to do it on the Friday, which I don't disagree with, for the next week, like pre-plan your next week on the Friday off. However, the weekend might dilute the intensity of the meeting and some of the passions you guys were feeling. So if the meeting really is about, if it's the weekly meeting, then it's virtual and it's just consistent. But if it's in person, it usually is about important stuff that we want to work on. We try not to be repetitive because then it might turn into, in the beginning we started doing it and then we noticed we didn't really have like proper team conversations planned out. So it was just going in random tangents of a few points and then it just stopped happening. And then that was not good. And Yakatrina, our president, thank once again, shout out to her for forcing all of us to come back to the table to have this conversation, because she said, guys, it's important. Like we can't keep doing it like this. Like, like we need to see each other's faces. We need to talk this out. We need to hear each other's voices, feel, felt, found. And I also think it's important for the culture and the relationship of everyone, because especially in construction, if you're not seeing the guys that you're working with often and you're just hearing things, either because you talk to them on the phone,
there's a disconnect.
Exactly. And then keep like a customer saying something about them, but if you've been meeting the person every single day and then the client says something about them, it's not that I ever doubt my guys, it's just I feel that if you're seeing the person, that disconnect doesn't happen as much, and then you can have more faith in what they're doing and how they're operating because you're seeing it every single day. You're not just guessing and saying, you know what, I haven't seen them in 2 months and the last 4 customers have just said bad things, for example. Not that that's ever happened. I'm just trying to give an example. But yeah, so I do think it's important. And the future of Reno Rabbit, Katya, because when she graduated, 4 out of her 7 courses were transferred from Ryerson to the HCRA. She's completed 2 of her exams, 1 more to go. The second that one goes, we all have to have a very serious meeting about which direction we want to take our first project. If it is that we're going to redo a custom house, like we get the property ourselves, we build from scratch, go all the way up. We could do that now without the HCRA, but we need a homeowner to kind of, he has to hire us, right, for it to all be above board. But if we want to do it, and then we need to make sure that she has that license, and then we also have to get the vendor's license, because you can't, this is really strange, but you have to build a house, and then to be able to sell the house as a builder, you need to have both licenses. So there's HCRA, Tyrion, and the vendor license. So that is the future direction that we're headed towards. We have very comfortably established the frame, like how we would do it, like what teams we would use, how would the operation work. We've even done some rough drafts as to what the costing might be, but that's hearsay at this point, because when time comes, we're gonna have to redo all those numbers based on material costs, labor costs, and all that stuff. So, and timelines. But the idea definitely is in that direction at first. If we can build a nice custom house, if we can flip it, we can put that on our portfolio. We can start showing people, other investors perhaps, that, hey, look, if this is a way that you want to make money, look at the ROI over here. Would you like to put in some money? And then we can do multiple of those projects at the same time, rather than only using our money to facilitate and finance them. This is the only way that I think we can expand without taking too much of our own financial risk, I would say. Looking for the investor that sees the return in the ROI, that what happens when you build a house in such a nice housing market, such a inflated or whatever you want to call it, such as Toronto, where houses do sell. They sell for quite a lot of money. Right now, it might not be doing ideal, but I don't
think right now is ideal, so you have to factor that in. Right now, you're getting a lot of the market people are losing on their sales, right?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
it's reflective of how many agents are actually leaving this market too, right?
Yes.
So it's just today, I think for the next year, it's still a challenging time
Yes.
to get a profit out of it, right? Like the only way you can possibly get a profit now out of it is if you do cut a bunch of corners, which means that you wouldn't be associated with any of those associations, you wouldn't be building properly, and you'd be cutting corners, and that's how the profit, which that happens, which is fine, but there's always the better way to do it, which is the proper way to do it, right? I like the fact that she's coming into this industry. And I'm always a big fan of people that are not from this industry coming into this industry because they'll look at it with fresh eyes, right? I'm not a huge fan of husband-wife teams that have been doing construction since day one, and the husband, for the most part, is always the GC. The wife is, for the most part, always the interior designer or slash architect or whatever. They come in with their own rules that they've created along the way. So they've taken the step and done that. But I do really like people coming from other industries coming in and seeing this. But I'm curious to find out if you know from your wife, what are some of the things that she's learned from the construction industry coming in that she didn't expect?
Okay. So something that really kind of caught her off guard, that even caught me off guard, to be completely honest, it's not at the scale that we're operating at per se, but it's what happens when you start getting into the larger scale projects, more of the territorial, I don't want to use the word mafia, but what's it called? Like, in the sense that when there's a side...
High-rise?
Oh, no. When you basically start to get into construction and into bigger jobs, I've basically heard some kind of scary stories. I was listening to about...
Commercial jobs?
Commercial jobs, yeah.
Yeah, listen, Mustafa, mafia's there.
Yeah. That's what I do.
I'm not sugarcoating it. It's there.
Yeah.
There's corruption there. There's I don't care how you slice it.
Thank you.
It's there.
Yes.
It's just there. And you can be a small fish, but then you're on their radar the moment you become a big fish. And they don't like anybody coming into their pond.
Yes.
They've got a system. It works really well. Quebec's extremely corrupt. Toronto is probably runner-up, if not preceding it, or it's passing it now, right?
Yes.
But it's there.
Yes.
It's just like you do not become this huge player by playing by all the rules. And then there's also there's the backdoor politician agreements that are being made. Zoning approvals. There's all kinds of stuff that you wonder I'm sure you've driven into certain neighborhoods in Toronto and you're like, how did that monster of a house get built?
Yep.
Because it doesn't meet any of the current criteria regarding what the restrictions are. But then you dig a little deeper and so-and-so is connected to so-and-so, connected to so-and-so, and that's how they got it approved.
Yep. 100%.
I remember a friend, he was in the Bloor West area, and he lived across the street to Bob Ray, who was the premier at the time. And I looked at his house, and I'm like, that goes against everything that you're allowed to do. But yet, here it is standing.
Yep.
So it's like, how do you not say that there's not things that are being done that shouldn't be done, right? So that's why I always caution anybody that's younger getting into the industry, going, listen, pick your segment that you want to get into. Like I recently had the guys, I haven't posted a show yet, from Seal It and Snow, just Seal It and Just Snow. They're young guys, super smart. They're a lot like how you guys are setting up your business, where they're looking at the back end of how to set this all up. But they are going after commercial contracts regarding maintenance on sealing and snow removal. Big commercial contracts, which is directly connected to certain organizations that have these contracts.
Yes.
So they're a small fish, but at some point during the show, or even before the show, they told me about how in their yard, 4 of their vehicles magically had wheels fall off on the highway. I mean,
that's exactly the kind of stuff.
So that's just kind of like a warning at that point, and it's not. Trust me, it's not a coincidence. Like there's no way it is, right?
Yep.
You wouldn't have that. I've never had a wheel ever in my lifetime, and I've driven since I was 16. So that's the game that you're in.
Yes.
So it is there. I've always said over and over, if you're a builder and you want to be 1,000% legit, you're not going to get to the level of those guys.
Yep. Because they're not playing by the rules, and that's the only way to get there. Yeah. That is it is unfortunate, because
whether people want to hear it or not,
it's true.
It's true, right? So all you got to do is go with it and try to figure out how you go around it.
Yes. Yes.
safely, right? Mm-hmm. But there might be times, and I even gave the kids a heads up, like because they're in their late 20s, early 30s, whatever. I was like, don't be surprised if all of a sudden a stranger comes knocking at your office door, your car door, your home, and wondering, why is there a stranger? I don't understand. And that's it. Like that part of the industry is there. It's just there.
Yep, 100%.
Right? And it's funny. You're from Pakistan?
Yes.
So there's the other builders that have spoken to me, and they're trying to get into the the whole industry as well here, and they don't understand how they're not getting jobs. And they asked me, would you jump on board to kind of assist us and consult, guide us, and all this other stuff? And this mafia conversation came up.
Yep.
And then they also brought it up because they're from Pakistan as well too. They go, well, that's the kind of stuff that goes on back there.
Exactly.
It's called the world, and it belongs to the human beings. And whenever there's money involved, it's there.
Yep.
I don't care what country it is. It's there. So you can't be surprised that it's here, right? It's really rampant here. That's the unfortunate thing. So when I see politicians like Ford talking about building a tunnel underneath the 401 from Brampton to Markham, I'm like, that's just a gold mine of corruption there.
Yep.
That's all I see. I don't see an actual tunnel being built.
100%.
I see a bunch of taxpayer dollars being given to people that shouldn't receive it.
100%.
So whether that moves forward, I don't know.
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, there's lots of things that the politicians are doing incorrectly. But then the other unfortunate thing is they try to get on their soapbox and talk about, we need more people to come into construction.
Yes.
We need to incentivize more people. No, what you really need to do is stop giving all the contracts to all the big, and I'm talking multi-billion-dollar corporations out there, and ignoring all the small mom-and-pop construction businesses.
Thank you.
Because I know for a fact that 1 million of those businesses are all small mom and pop, whether it's a one-person shop or it's like less than 20. It's actually less than 10. It's 1 million. The other 500,000 belongs to unionized big construction companies.
Yes.
So that's a lot of tradespeople working in those two different versions of construction, right? Whether the small mom and pop, they might be doing cash deals here and there. Technically speaking, that's illegal, but it's a lot less illegal than what the current politicians are doing right in front of our faces.
Yes.
But, so if you just do it and you get caught, but then you're not reprimanded, is it still illegal? It's like the tree theory.
Yeah.
Like, so they don't care about doing it. So I look at it like, if you're coming into the construction industry, just watch out for yourself. Don't step on people, hurt people, don't do that. But if you start getting big, prepare for strangers all of a sudden communicating with you. Yes. Especially if you're going into contracts that they are so used to getting. These big corporations sit down. You have your monthly, your meetings. They probably have them like the same amount of time. And they're like, this is how much money is coming down. This is how much money is coming down. That's all they talk about. Yes. I compare it to the 60s and 70s. We're doing shakedowns in neighborhoods going, you want protection. Yes. It's there. Nobody wants me to talk about it. It's there. It's as simple as that.
I completely agree. It's like, I agree when you're saying that the second you start becoming big, there's like an ecosystem that gets disturbed, and so always these players that start to appear, and it's obviously never going to be them. It's going to be some stranger individual that approaches. I can't remember the guy's name, but the owner of Mr. Raptors, the guy who wraps all the cars, and basically what happened is that they also broke into this guy's house. I know he lives across the street from one of my friends. He has like a Rolls Royce and the G-Wagon always parked outside his house wrapped and stuff. But what happened is that
why would you park those two vehicles outside on the driveway without any security bollards? I don't understand that. That's like basically, might as well just put a neon sign. The keys are underneath the the right tire or something like that.
The Rolls Royce was wrapped in neon pink. So there's just but when I shared the photo with my guys, they said the same thing. Like, they were like, dude, if you look at his Instagram photos, he's wearing a lot of like chains and rings and stuff like that. When you read what happened when they broke into this guy's house, they beat him more than they robbed him. That's why I'm like, this wasn't a robbery. I'm like, just read what happened. Beat him with a baseball bat, threw him down a flight of stairs, shot at him, threatened his family, took less than $5,000 worth of stuff. I'm like, all that for that? Like, I'm like, really? What's it called? So that's why I'm like this. And then the next day, it was like a lot of people were like showing on social media. Good on him. You got to give the guy credit. Like, he was coming out and he was indirectly basically saying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be posting like crazy. So I was just trying to understand it. I'm like, was this indirect? I don't know him personally, but I was just like, is that an indirect conversation that's happening between these guys? But it was just an observation that I was noticing. I'm like, well, this guy's he took off really fast. And shortly after this happened to him, that someone broke into his house, severely beat him, threw him down the flight of stairs, barely robbed him, threatened his family, shot at him, didn't kill him, and left. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a threat.
Did they steal the cars?
I believe they tried to take the G-Wagon. They didn't touch the Rolls Royce. But I didn't read the full report, but I believe they attempted.
Why wouldn't they steal the cars?
That's the part that I don't completely understand. That's why I said it sounds more like a beating than a robbery. Like, I'm like, but...
it's a message, right?
It's a message.
But I mean, unfortunately, it's there. That's just the sad thing about it, right?
Yeah.
So is it there to deter anybody who's getting into the industry? Mm-hmm. Listen, you can make a healthy living running a well-established, like how you guys are doing. You can create a healthy financial living from running a proper business and a brand, right? You stay in your own wheelhouse and you grow from that point. The moment you try to tell me the latest, greatest big developer that has come into Canada.
You can't.
They're not there.
Yeah, that doesn't even ring a bell. Like,
No, because
nothing.
all the ones that are there, all the ones that are tendering, all the ones that they've been there for decades and they're going to stay there for decades, right? So they don't want another, pick your letters, you know what I mean? These companies have just letters, big signage letters that when you're driving on the Garden or you're driving on the 401, you know who we're talking about here. Like there's no way that these businesses are billionaires from swinging a hammer. There's no way. They're billionaires because they got certain contracts. They got the certain contracts because they're in bed with certain politicians and approval process.
Yes.
That's how it's unfortunate because it's not about the skill level of the construction. And then the other flip side of that, which I really detest, is they'll get the contracts, they'll get the job, they'll get on their soapbox and talk about how beneficial this is for the city, country, people crap. Then they'll pay the tradespeople the tiniest amount possible to do the work. And the unfortunate thing is that those people are tied with the unions because you have to be a union member to be on these projects.
Yes.
And then the union is letting this happen because they're connected to this whole circle. Consider Expert Plumbing and Drains. When it comes to plumbing, you need someone who's not just skilled, but truly cares about the job they do. Someone like Aaron Bolin and his team at Expert Plumbing and Drains. Aaron has been in the trade for years, and he's built his reputation on one thing: commitment. Commitment to his craft, his crew, and most importantly to you, the client. At Expert Plumbing and Drains, it's not just fixing pipes, it's about delivering the best possible service every single time on every single project. So whether you're dealing with a leaky faucet, a stubborn drain, or planning a full plumbing overhaul, Aaron and his team are ready to tackle it all with skill, integrity, and a passion for excellence. Need help now? Call Expert Plumbing and Drains at 905-531-4111. That's 905-531-4111. Or visit them at www.expertplumbinganddrains.com and on social media at Expert Plumbing and Drains Canada. Experience the difference of working with a team that's dedicated to getting the job done right. Because at Expert Plumbing and Drains, your satisfaction is their top priority. You can also email Aaron directly at aaron@expertplumbinganddrains.com. Expert Plumbing and Drains, where expertise meets care. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life. And I will always speak up and against any of that crap, because I think a tradesperson has a certain amount of value and they should be compensated a certain amount.
Agreed.
They shouldn't be taken advantage of, let alone not paid. And for the most part, there's a lot of times that they're not paid because now you start bringing it all the way up to the top and all the executives got paid. All the executives took their bonuses. All the executives did all this shit. They can cry all they want going, well, yeah, sure, I made $1 million off this project, but 200,000 of that had to be put into envelopes to be given to individuals that approved this project. That's got nothing to do with the skilled labor that's on the job site that did the work that you asked them to do.
Yes.
And then you decided not to pay them.
Yes.
That's got nothing to do with that. And then you turn around and go, listen, finish this job. I'll pay you on the next job. Or come up to my cottage and help me finish my $25 million cottage. How do we have a premier in Canada that's building a $25 million cottage? Yeah. On a salary of less than $400,000, right? $200,000, I think it is.
Yeah, and his
How
net
does
worth
that
is...
work?
Yeah,
I don't know where, like, he did not make that much money in the pandemic with his detail label business. He didn't. There's no way. But now, like, for you as an individual to build a $25 million cottage, your net worth is not $25 million. you have a far greater net worth. So like, I don't understand why as people, Canadian citizens, not questioning this, going, this isn't right. We shouldn't have public officials serving the public, building these structures for their own personal gain.
Yes.
We shouldn't, right?
No,
so I'm just saying, I want you guys to grow. I want you guys to build.
Thank you.
Right? The thing is, because I see a lot of positive, and it's very advantageous to you guys to have your wife and other people come in and basically mix the bowl to figure out a better mousetrap, right?
Yes.
And it's working, which is great. But then you're going to continue growing. You're going to continue growing. But I think the one thing that I would say to you, and I'm not even a part of your business, and we just met, what I would say to you is that where can we make the most amount of profit building with the resources that we have and how we can grow and not have any of this threat around us? Because the moment you start inviting these threats, it just it contributes to stress. It contributes to failures of projects that you're currently on. It's going to contribute to a bunch of stuff that will eventually possibly be a downfall. So if you can grow properly, do it.
Yes.
As long as you're not pissing off the powers that be, which is technically mafia.
Yes.
That's what it is. It still exists. Like, it's out there. It's no different. They're just wearing tool belts, right? That's all they are, right?
100%. 100%. Yeah, no, it's just like very eye-opening, and because there's already so many things, and to your point, like all that money that's going in envelopes and going to these politicians who are taking their bonuses and God knows what they're doing, but that money should be going to the guy swinging the hammer. I truly believe that. Like, I mean, anyone that swung a hammer and felt the vibration go on through your entire nervous system, and then you go home and you sleep at night and you can't get the ringing out of your ears, or the first time you use a power drill, you get used to it, but like you first time you use a power drill and it's just like the amount, like just the tendonitis, like the things that these guys are going to have to deal with later on in their life, like the asbestos, quickly go get a mask, like, you know, the in between running and putting on the mask and stuff just because we weren't aware or weren't told or something like that, which thank God doesn't happen as often. But it's things like that when I'm like, that's the guy out there. Like, I'm like, I understand that the mentality is the executives and then the salespeople. I'm like, yeah, but the guy building it is not only working himself to the bone, he's in my mind a scientist, an artist, and a perfectionist. Like, you know, it's just, you see these guys work, the ones who have passion in what they do. I could, you know, it's that quote, three things a man could stare at: fire burning, water flowing, and another man working. Another man working with passion. Like, you know, it's just like, you could stare at it all day. You're just like, good God, man, this guy he's really doing it. Like, oh, it's like,
it's true. There's an Italian saying for that same thing where we just watch work being unfolded, right?
Ah, yes.
It's just there. And I'm a huge, and I'll be tackling this one eventually, is I don't understand why the military service people in this country are not given a free home.
Yes.
I'm sorry. But like, when I hear a prime minister talk about they were asking for a little bit of money and his response was the cost was too much for them to bear, and then all of a sudden we see $80 million go to Ukraine.
Yes.
I don't understand how his first statement is justifiable. I think anybody that has served this country and has given up, you know, a lot of them, their lives, I think the minimum that we should be doing, because there's far too many of them that are homeless and addicted to vices, and the minimum we should be doing is giving them a home.
Yes.
I'm not talking about a lavish home. I'm talking about just a nice 2,500 square foot home
100%.
In their community where they grew up with, or whatever. They should be given a home, tax-free, period. Agreed. You want to serve this country, that's what you get at the end of your career as a service person in this military. Whether they're going to do that, hell no, because they want to just corrupt this money and put it someplace else, right?
I agree.
There's a bunch of things that I don't think that any politician should be receiving a pension greater than the average Canadian is receiving.
Yes. Yes, that would be a good...
Right now we're arguing about a $2.2 million pension for the NDP leader, and he's holding out on a call of confidence for an election because he wants his $2.2 million. And I'm like, I don't know a single Canadian citizen that is going to be receiving a $2.2 million pension. Not a single person. So I think all public officials should all be reflective. Their pension should be, so if you're getting your old age security and whatever the average is nowadays for Canadians, it's got to be less than like $40,000, whatever. That's what you get as a public official.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
If you want it to go up higher, then make the people's higher.
Yes.
That's what, but I mean, right now the mafia is having a heyday because of what's going on. Like, everybody's committing crimes, and nobody's being accounted for. So it's like you can continue doing crimes.
Yeah. The houses catching on fire. I mean, not to judge or anything, but all those properties last year. That's just
Well, that's all got something to do with the banks and the mortgages and calling in for. Yeah, I know.
And it's just that there was no. It would make it the news. You'd see like 4 of these multi-million-dollar mansions just catching on fire in Vaughan or in Kleinburg and stuff. And then you're right. Shortly after, there was not that I've heard of. I might be out of the news, so I apologize. But I didn't hear any people being held accountable. I didn't hear we found who did it or whatever. It's just bunch of insurance claims and all this stuff, and it's just it's very interesting to me. And then it's like you said, it's the mafia. You can't sugarcoat it. It's.
I'm having conversations with people right now that bought pre-cons a year ago that are taking possession of the pre-con at the end of 26, and they're freaking out right now, trying to figure out how they're going to be able to survive the mortgage approval process to begin with, and what the anticipated interest rate is going to be. Right, and I don't care about anybody. You can argue with me all you want. When you've got a banking system that is dictated on, obviously they're not giving out mortgages as they were. And so it's in their best interest, talking about marketing, it's in their best interest to tell the public that next year the rates are going to go down.
Yes.
Because they want you to have confidence in them to possibly get that line of credit, possibly consider making that purchase. That's all it is. It's just marketing bullshit.
Yes,
I agree. What I mean? Like, milk is bad for you, and Milk did a whole campaign about got milk, and it turned around that whole thing. Marketing. Politicians are about marketing.
100%.
Banks are connected to politicians.
Yes.
It's all connected. It's all put together.
100%.
So it's just, you have to be smart enough to just see, like how you just saying, that guy got broken into and he was beaten to a pulp, and then they didn't really steal much, but they got some. But what was the real motive behind this, right?
Yes.
So you got to look at what's the real motive behind this. Unfortunately, it's always tied to money. The Canadian citizens, for the most part, are tied to survival right now.
Yes.
The establishment is tied to money. So it's a conflict right there.
Yep.
Major conflict. We're just trying to survive.
Literally.
Like when you go and fill up, like when I first got my motorcycle, I was filling up a gas tank on my motorcycle, and it was less than $10 on premium. And this is, mind you, this is like 2002, 2001.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's like $30, and like, this is insane. It's a small tank, right?
Yeah,
Triple the amount for the same. You got to question whether you're even going to bother with Supreme, right, at that point.
Yeah.
So it's not sustainable. You can't continue doing this, but we're letting it happen, right?
Yes. And we're all watching these graphs and stuff where they're showing the median family household income versus the affordability, and these graphs that are going over here. And I do agree that, like, it is kind of like a general thing that why aren't more people outraged? But I think everyone's just exhausted. Like you said, survival mode. Like, there's just one problem after the other. Like, on personal levels, I've been seeing it happening this last year. Like, not construction related. I just noticed a lot of people that I knew were going through some pretty tough things, whether it was financially, whether it was because they had the variable, whether it was on a personal side. I just noticed a lot of people were holding through. Good on them, but it wasn't smooth sailing, I should say, as some other years have been.
Here's the bad part: is like I didn't mean the show to get to this whole point.
No, of course.
No, because I have a lot of respect for you guys and what you guys are doing. Right?
Thank you.
It's just the whole thing is that they're forcing a lot of Canadian citizens to dig into their survival money.
Yes.
Whether that's cash underneath the mattress, or whether that's certain investments elsewhere.
Yes.
They're all dipping into this stuff to survive, because they know that the numbers don't. And we bring all this up because this is directly related to construction. When I started seeing, I was telling people in construction, do not buy all this new machinery. Do not buy all this brand new vehicles. Don't buy, because the interest rates were too high. The companies were loving it. Now, you can't get rid of a Sprinter van. They have so many of them now. They, during those years, they were just like, we're going to charge 10%, and you're going to wait 1 year to get it. You're going to sign this deal right now, and you're going to be locked in for 5 years. And I'm like, these are all big mistakes to do. And so I was just like, you guys have to prepare for this stuff, because the thing is, this lean time was coming. I was telling people 2 years ago this lean time was coming. But you're dealing with a huge generation of the construction industry that has never gone through this.
Yes.
Never gone through. Fine. The older generation, they went through it in the late 90s and then early 2009, 2008.
The dot-com crash. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
right? So all of a sudden, they went through it. And inflation and everything was reasonable to fight it. It wasn't so much of a survival. They were still just making it work.
Yes.
They were taking whatever work they could. Now you can't, because when you got $100 and all of a sudden you got to pay X amount to your taxes and then your all your overhead and all this other stuff, you don't have $100 anymore.
Yep.
So now you got clients who are going, we really need to renovate, but we have to find the best price for the best quality. Doesn't exist.
Exactly. Thank you.
So it's like you either scale down the reno and then hire the right person to do it at the best price that they can offer it.
Yes.
Or don't do the reno at all.
Yes.
Wait it off, right?
100%.
Live with it.
Yep.
Right now, you got so many people building tents around the whole country, and you know, you got money going out and being thrown out, and then the hurricanes happening down south, and you got one idiot vice president on a plane that's not even got her headset plugged into her phone, and she's writing on a blank piece of fucking paper, while you got another one that's actually there in a boat. And like it's just like there's such a contrast, black and white, going on. And it's no different here, too. You got one idiot that's on Parliament Hill riding a bicycle with a fucking box in the front of it, saying that he wants to save the fucking planet. But yet he's fighting for $2.2 million. If it's really about saving the fucking planet, then money shouldn't be an equation.
I agree.
Hey, homeowners and businesses, are you looking for top-notch tile and stone services you can trust and count on? Consider the expert tradesperson behind the Tile Guy GTA, Omid himself. He takes pride in delivering quality service and professional installation on time and on budget. From mosaics to large slabs to custom niches and miters, the Tile Guy GTA has you covered. With years of experience and a commitment to excellence, Omid and the team at the Tile Guy GTA are your go-to professionals for all your tile and stone needs. From full waterproofing solutions of every possible product to the finish, grouting details, even a hint of design recommendations when the client needs to hear the truth. Call the Tile Guy GTA today, 647-716-5062, or email them at thetileguy.gta@gmail.com. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
I agree. And if we have millions and billions to sell for the cause of war, we should have it for our own troops. We should have it for our own people back home.
Every country should help their own people first.
Yes.
100%.
100%.
There shouldn't be a single homeless person. There shouldn't be a single homeless military person.
Yes.
There shouldn't be any of this stuff.
I
None
agree.
of it whatsoever. You shouldn't have drug vending machines in BC free of charge for anybody to take.
Yeah. It feels
What's
like
going to happen when children take that?
Yeah,
and then overdoses.
Even when I heard about that stuff, I'm like, they're like, no, but we're trying to be more accepting about it. I'm like, how is
That's
that?
got nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
I never voted for them, and I never will, and I never believed the whole, I'm going to make weed legal message. You're a poor manager that never had the skill set to do anything in life, and you were given a trust fund, and in my opinion, the wrong brother passed away.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about that as well, too. But it's just like, it's a scary time.
Yeah,
and I know a lot of people are leaving construction because they can't make ends meet. You're getting people leaving in construction to possibly take sales rep positions in construction-related industries, which makes a lot of sense because they have the knowledge. They may not have the great people skills that you have and the salesmanship skills that you have, right? But they'll learn those eventually. If they listen to enough shows or they meet enough people, they'll keep on practicing their technique. But they don't have all that scariness overhead where it's like, I've got 3-4 employees. I've got their families to worry about. I've got my overhead. I've got the shop that I've got. No, everyone's pulling back. Everyone's selling their workshops. Everyone's selling their vans. They're getting rid of. For you to think that this is over, man, I've been telling people this ain't going to change until 27. Right? We're not going to get an election until the end of next year, which is an unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
And then he's going to get resistant because he's been given the job and he's not a better puppet. They're all puppets. So you're going to see another fiasco going on in 26. That's why I'm saying that it's not going to be until 27. And then we also take the cue from the U.S.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And yeah, they even said in the US right now with all these mega rate cuts, everyone is anticipating the 50 basis points cut coming. That's the end. And exactly. Like Jordan Powell from the American side, he comes on site and everyone's like, okay, here's the speech. So we're not going to do a rate cut. And I'm like, what's it called? And I'm like, this is just like when they put the interest rates at next to zero and they said, don't worry. They even I saw Trudeau on the thing giggling to the question, well, interest rates are at an all-time low and they're not going to come up anytime soon. And then I feel like they did it. It almost looks intentional. Like they told all the leaders, told all the Canadians, buy, overspend.
And now look at the situation. We have record high credit card debt. We have record high foreclosures. We have record high, they're all calling these cards in. You've got banks taking major hits now.
It's insanity.
I would love to see all the Canadian banks go red. Love it.
Yep.
It'd be the first time in history. Right? So I'm encouraging people don't pay.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you think that the Canadian government would buy them out like they did in the States? Like, that would be insanity. I don't know
Well, that
if
was a stupid move to do that.
Yes, 1.8
So
trillion or something.
I think we need to go back to the gold standard. I think we need to go back to the way it was when everything was running fine.
Agreed.
But powers that be and the masters that are controlling everything don't want that.
100%.
They want all this chaos and they want war.
Yes.
There's so much money to be made in war.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, no, you look at Lockheed Martin, you look at Bombardier, you look at all their stocks, they're like soaring through the roof. I don't buy them just because I don't want the ethics thing in my mind. I'm like, because it's like making money off war, but I can see how other people are attracted. And if they're making that kind of money, anyone would be thinking war equals more money. And I'm like, it's like a bad setup it's going to be harder to change because it's like no war equals less money. So what's going to happen more?
Never in my life would I ever thought that this story would have unfolded, but it's unfolding. So all you can do is either ride it out, ignore it, right? Or you can try to move away from it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you're going to do that.
I know.
Mustafa, we got to wrap it up. I got to ask you the 12 questions.
Please.
Reno Rabbit at Reno Rabbit Inc. on IG and TikTok. Info at renorabbit.ca and then www.renorabbit.ca. What is your favorite construction word or phrase?
Not to be a cliche on this, but measure twice, cut once. I know they say it's the carpenter's tool or the carpenter's thing. I know it's for the engineer, but yes, that would be at 100%.
Least favorite tool?
Least favorite tool, oscillating multi-tool. That's just because I don't feel like I have the finesse for it. Some people, DeMar and those guys, they can do it.
There is no finesse for it. It's a crappy tool.
Yeah, it's just, I don't like it. Sorry.
What do you miss from your childhood?
Not having a cell phone. Good God, it's the freedom of not having a smartphone. Any place that I go to that says no cell phones allowed, a spa. Just think of any place that you've gone to where they haven't let you take this device into you. It is like freedom. Yes, I have a workaholic tendency. My wife tells me it's not a good habit of mine, but at the same time, I feel like it's a second shackle that I constantly have on me. So I miss not having it.
That's the good thing about me. When I still go watch movies, obviously, and I turn it off. So I'll go to a movie and I turn it off for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
And then also writing, I turn it off. I think you got to tell yourself.
Yeah.
Like I've got a very good friend. He just told me that he bought a flip phone from Amazon.
Yeah, good call.
He just takes the SIM card out of his smartphone, puts it in the flip phone when he doesn't want any of the distractions of the smart features. Flip phone, all you can do is call, and then if you want, you can spend days on trying to text somebody with the number on 3 letters.
The three-click thing, and you won't be motivated, so you'll just back up.
You'll give up at that point, right?
Yeah, good call.
What construction sound do you love?
The paint roller rolling on the wall when the paint starts. It sounds like the beginning of something new. But the other sound, this kind of ties into a smell, is like when they use the power saw just to cut wood, because it's the smell of wood that ties into the sound. I love the smell of wood or being around wood or the feel of it. So it's a kind of a battle between those two, but yeah.
Favorite beverage?
Oh, Caesar. I was introduced to a Caesar by my friend Matthew on my birthday. He's like, you've never had a Caesar?
For all you Americans, Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. Oh, yeah, thank you. Sorry, yeah. I even learned that the hard way when I went to the States. And I'm like, can I have a Caesar? They're like, what is it?
What you're talking about.
Exactly. And then Bloody Mary doesn't taste exactly like a Caesar, but it is fairly close.
It's in the same wheelhouse, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, no, very grateful. Thank you Canada for the introduction to the Caesar. It's my best hangover drink you could ever have.
What turns you on and off in construction?
What turns me on in construction is an active and ever-changing work environment. It's just, you learn this in product sales. You sell bed sheets after 6 months of saying, do you want bed sheets? It starts to drive you a little bit crazy. So constant change is good for someone like me because it kind of helps keep me active and keep me stimulated. So it kind of works better with my personality type. What turns me, and also the code that I was talking about earlier, the code that they have, I really love that. The thing that turns me off about it is the corruption. The fact that, the thing that we just described, the fact that, if I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to grow fast, I have to be conscious about things like, I have a wife, I have a family, and I don't want to step on the wrong toes. If you're listening, what's it called? But at the same time, I do want a bigger piece of the pie, so I'm coming. What's it called? So that's the idea, right? So
good luck with it.
Thank you.
Favorite curse word?
Which language? Let's see.
You know what? I like different languages. I've heard all the English ones.
Oh, okay, fair. So, okay. So if it was Russian, because my wife is Russian, it would be pizda.
Pizda?
Pizda. It basically, it's just the way you say it, right?
Pizda. And it means?
Female genitals, I believe, is what he said.
Okay.
But it's just, I was like, really? That's how you say it? And they're like, pizda. And I'm like, oh, it has a finesse to it. There's also idila hui, which means, like climb on someone's dick. But that I think pizda is more. That's Russian too, yeah. But then if you go into the Jamaican guys tomorrow, I think bumbleclot is hilarious because I can't stop laughing the way they say bumbleclot. Like even when they're angry.
I saw a video recently where there was a Jamaican drive-in and he used every version of clot. It was like because a cow came out of nowhere and blocked the road and he almost hit him. And then he just went Ross Clot, Bumba Clot, and he's like, I was loving it. It brought me right back to high school days.
Yeah. It's the way it's said. It's there's too much fun in it. I'm like that. Whoever thought of that word really hit the nail on the head with what he was trying to get across.
I love that.
And the Urdu version of Bumba Clot, which a lot of Pakistani, Indian, Southeast Asian client, chutia. Chutia. It means stupid fucker, but like it really means it. Like if you speak Urdu, you can say it like the F word. You can change it, because it can be used in so many different ways. But chutia, perfect. There you go. Like if someone just does something really stupid and you're just like, what a chutia. What's it called? Like it's just like, and I swear, any listener listening, they're dying while driving right now because they all say it. If not out loud, they're saying it in their head. It's like programmed into all of us. What's it called? But yeah.
Favorite vehicle in the world? Any mode of transportation?
Oh, it used to be that I wanted a McLaren before I got married. But now that I got married, my favorite vehicle has of course changed to her favorite vehicle, which is a 20-meter yacht. And the reason I say meter is because I had to convert because she's Russian, so I had to come from 65 feet into 20 meters. But that is her dream vehicle, which is now my dream vehicle.
A diesel engine yacht or a sailboat?
No, diesel engine, yeah. Good God, no, man. Like, I mean, look. First of all, it's already the hassle of getting the bloody thing and then learn how to do the sailing. I'm like, no, I can't. Like,
they have courses for that.
Yeah, no, I know, but
I don't want to do it.
I don't do it.
Turn the key.
Exactly.
Push the button.
I'm like, if the whole billionaire experience, I'm like, unless it's someone else manning it, but then, more money to get the crew. But if you have a 20-meter yacht, I think
I don't
those
know if
kind
I could do it. I'd be on that yacht looking at everybody going, I'm paying all you guys to be here to enjoy this scenery, right?
I know, it's like, your job is really good. What's it called? I know. I agree with you. I agree. But, marriage first, so.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day?
What profession aside from my own? Public speaking. I would love to try it, honestly. Even in university, I studied, I did my undergrad in sciences a very long time ago from Ryerson University because my dad's, I wanted to go into dentistry like my father. But I remember in third year when I spoke to my guidance counselor, I used to barge into her office all the time. And she's like, Mustafa, I really think you should do something that involves talking or moving. But it was really good advice that I got from her. I was thinking pharmaceutical sales, which is how I got into product sales, which I got into water systems because, it's just talking about health and reverse osmosis and all that stuff. But definitely public speaking or TV, like a late night talk show host is something I've always wanted to attempt just to see what happens. I'm like, it'd be fun. Why not?
What profession would you not like to do? Anything
that doesn't involve human interaction or sitting still for too long. That would be, I would say, I've usually tried to look for I would say nothing really has that limited human interaction, but something, more like accounting or something that would not allow, that's not fair because there's some accountants that can talk to people, just anything that limits you from interacting with other people. There's some people that thrive on those jobs. They're like, can I please just do something that doesn't
there's lots of people that don't want to be interacting with anybody these days.
Exactly. And I actually kind of get happy when I hear that because I'm like, oh my God, that means I'll get paid to do it because a lot of you don't want to do it. I'm like, yeah.
I was just going to say, you could always get a job down at the South Pole and just do some research on some wildlife. But then again, you'll come across all the government stuff that's going on down there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll see a lot of people there. But
yeah.
Last question. No, that was what you want to try.
Public speaking is what I want to try, and then the other one's what I didn't want to try.
Yeah. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
Okay. So this one, I'm sorry, I don't like writing things down. It was about God, so I'm like, you know what? I'll give it its respect. If I had to hear God say something, it would be, you built a life full of love, brick by brick, beam by beam. Now welcome to the house you've designed, in the stairs built on wisdom, framed with kindness, and furnished with joy. And don't worry, the foundation here, it's eternal. So
very nice. You wrote that?
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much, Mustafa. I really appreciate you reaching out and coming on the show, and all the best. Please stay in touch.
You as well. Thank
I'll
you,
keep
Manny.
paying attention, watching.
Thank you.
And hopefully the corruption stays away from you guys.
100%. I appreciate that, Manny. Thank you. And we look forward to one day coming back. I will make sure that I bring Yakatrina with
Well,
me.
she'll see how much fun it was, and then she'll be like, "Oh, I should have just did it, right?"
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. It's good because she's working on the Demo Rabbit already. But no, honestly, I appreciate the
come back
opportunity.
anytime with her, and then we could have a conversation about that side of the business as well, too.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect. Thank you,
That's
Manny.
it. Thank you. We're out of here.